Hi.
Hello there,
Hey. Hi.
Patreon members.
Hey. Hi. Now back to the conversation we were having. Now, how purple is this? Because like I just see a lot of real purple,
Oh, it's a
It's like a metallic purple. Yeah.
like a gunmetal purple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like
a
kind of
brushed
great. Like
finish
what kind of purple are we talking? Like
Like a
Yeah,
metallic.
It's like a Fruit of the Loom type of
a fruit
purple.
of like a grape.
Yeah,
kind
like a
of
grimace.
purple?
It's like a chrome
A
grimace.
grimace. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, chrome grimace is perfect.
All right. Chrome. That's exactly.
It's a
this
grimace.
guy's name is Sir
Grimace.
now. Sir Grimace.
Listen, I want to know. I saw the merch. I've been a guest numerous times on this show, and I have not been given like a guest mug. Is there a guest? There should be some kind of gift basket. for guests
We have a
on
lot
the
of
show.
guests, you know, so
I feel like we
That
could do,
does
like,
not
an
get
SNL
you out
thing.
of actually sending a gift basket to your guests.
We could do an SNL thing. Once you've been on the show like 5 times, then you get the gift basket.
Who has been on? Who is in your 5-timers club?
I don't know if you have.
nobody. I think 3 is the most, and it's you. And probably out of the Basement Boys. Wilbon's made a lot of appearances, but he's only been an official guest
Yeah.
1 or 2 times.
Are we talking? Like, would people on our birthday stream technically be?
I don't think that counts. I don't think that
You don't
counts.
think, you don't think the birthday streams count?
No, because I
Well,
feel like
that
if
puts me to
birthday streams
4.
counted, Wilbon would be the leader because he's been on the birthday streams. He's been on, like, he's helped us with like some like the drafts every show, and then he was on as official guest because
But-
of his new.
But he was.
show.
How many times was he listed as official guest? Was he on the show notes as end guest?
Twice, maybe once.
Okay, so
I think whenever he does the drafts, he's an official guest. So I think he's
No, that's true. I would say he's an
Yeah.
official guest when he's doing the draft. He's also the host of the draft, but like, I feel like that's kind of the same.
that's
thing.
more like
There's a lot of
contributor.
crossover.
That sounds like contributor more than guest.
contributor.
Yeah, he's like your intern. He's your Baba Booey.
Yeah,
He was
So-
the intern for a while there.
he was. I would call him like kind of an executive producer, if you will. Maybe
Are you defining
he funded the
executive?
show. He funded the show, and he produced content.
Oh, here we go. Look, he speak of the devil in the chat.
Also, hi Kirby Brock. We
And I
we
think
brought
Ken,
up
this
the
is
big
your third
guns.
time, right?
Is this Ken's 3rd or 4th time?
3.
Is it?
I think it's 3 because we had the episode where right before I met Hayden,
Is this how you judge time?
Yeah.
Pre-Hayden.
Pre-Hayden and
before-
post-Hayden.
BH and PH.
But yeah, there's the auto.
It's after
there.
Hayden.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Did I
yeah.
move it? Oh, I can't see the auto right now. It's hidden.
How do you not wear it around?
It's right behind that Emperor.
I got.
Should it be like a shield on your chest?
Right? It should.
Oh, yeah,
I should
was
have
it-
make it a necklace.
Is that what is that hole behind you, Mike? You never have a
this
hole on
tank.
your shelves.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what to put there now. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for.
Did you officially sell it?
I did. I sold it.
So is that where the ghost is going?
I didn't even buy the ghost. I don't want the ghost.
You can use his tank money.
I put it in my wallet for the dragon. Just waiting for that to go live. I'm pretty sure I've got enough money for it.
Just take it from your move to Illinois fund.
That's where it's going to have to ship to, isn't it?
It is where it's gonna have to ship to, because by the time it comes out, I will.
You can
not
just
be
ship it to
there.
my house just to be sure. You know, you never like moving delays. You never know. You know.
I'm good.
And then you can ship it to my house, Zach.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just
We'll
gonna
trade.
ship
We'll trade it
my-
back and
my
forth.
Dragon around.
Yeah.
Is that?
Then I'll ship it to Dan,
Yeah.
and eventually
Dan will
you'll
have his
collect
own
this.
dragon. He's getting one too. But yeah, like this is mostly empty now because I moved this to here. And what was here was a bunch of Transformers, and I put them back up. See, Kirby says I sound quiet.
You do sound quiet compared to Ken, and it is. Ken, do you hear the popping a little when he starts talking?
I do.
Okay,
told him.
so he did tell me that. Now
Yeah.
I know
There
how
it
to
goes
fix it.
again.
Hold on.
It's that Kirby crackle.
It's the Kirby crackle. Let me so it's not a peaking thing. It sounds like it's just a connection.
So it's connection. So maybe your
have
system needs to
adjusted-
be restarted, or
I have adjusted the cable on this side. Let me go adjust it on the back side.
all of this will be missing in the audio edition of the podcast, I'm sure.
No, yeah, this is for Patreon members only. We usually sort of banter for about 15 minutes and just kind of get warmed up. You know, this is what
Or
this is
additional
kinda why
banter for the next.
yeah, this is kind of why we do it in case when we go live, if there are any technical issues, we have.
Yeah,
this
he
sort
was
of-
crackling for before you came on. He was.
Yeah, so we have this buffer period to get going before we actually start, like the portion where we'll cut for the audio podcast. down.
So this is where we get to just talk crap about Wellbond. Is that?
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
the-
We can
the
we
main
can talk
focus
crap.
of-
We can talk shit about any other content creator or show. Well, we have a rare, maybe first time appearance from Mrs. Wilbon. I'll be meeting her for the first time at ICC Con later this month, if I'm able to go.
Maybe she would like to
ICC
join
Con.
us
I
into the
don't know.
discussion right now. I don't know.
Maybe
Okay, is the popping still there? If it is, I'll have to reboot.
that sounded better, but we'll just have to see.
All right.
But it doesn't do the thing where it downloads the audio locally, so that
No,
wouldn't
it
be an issue on
doesn't. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
Okay. Oh, hey,
It sounds better now,
Hi.
actually.
You sound better.
So was
I'm
it a
not
connection
sick
issue?
this
Did you?
episode.
Is that what you
I
did?
might have been. I unplugged it from the back and plugged it back in on the. I did it on the mic side before. Now I did it on the computer side.
So you-
we'll see.
Oh no,
the
there was
old-
crackle.
There was a little bit. But it wasn't as much. It was kind of light, I feel like.
If it's
But-
doing it, it's just gonna do it. No, this is okay.
Did you wait 3 seconds before you plugged it back in?
That's
Did you
nothing.
Did you-
blow on it first?
Yeah, get
So
it
I-
dusted
yeah, I
out like
should
an old
do. Yeah,
cartridge.
blow it. I should blow on it. No, what I should do is change out the cable and see if that fixes it.
Are you going to do that? We're just going to roll with it. Oh, he's doing it.
At what point we could tell him there was no crackle, and this was just so we could have some time alone.
Right. Oh, hang on. You got to carry the show. I got to run upstairs real quick. So
Great.
2 seconds.
Well, fantastic. Well, you know what? I will take some comments. Anyone have any questions in the chat about anything? We can talk about just about anything now. We can talk about Zach. We can talk about Mike. What would you like to talk about? Would you like to just see some stuff? Do you want to just do that? Oh, no, I don't want to reveal anything that I'm going to talk about later. So, but we shouldn't show any of the reveals. Hey, Pletho. Yes, Wilbon. This is the hostile takeover. I can't highlight anything right now, so yes, this is the hostile takeover of the podcast. He could hear all of this stuff. He had his earphones still in. None of this.
Yes,
was
I
any
do.
secret.
Yes, I do. Wilbon, that's a podcast question. That's an audio podcast question. All right, I'm back. I could hear everything, so luckily you didn't talk crap or anything.
I would never have done so.
All right, looks like Mike's back. Oh,
Okay, there's a new cable. If it's not that, I'm gonna have to reboot, and if it doesn't fix it after that,
this is actually worse.
what?
Yeah.
You serious? It's worse.
Well, keep.
Well, it did it right off the bat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be okay still.
No, I'm gonna reboot my computer.
Okay, so
Might want
answer.
to you want to restart your router while you're at it, because it might be a internet connection issue as well. While it's all coming back up.
Well, we have a legit question for you if you want to.
That's complicated because of sort of the nature of the Disney parks are that they're continually evolving, and we're always intended to be continually evolving. But that being said, that is a classic ride. I mean, it has historical significance of being Jim Henson's final work and a legacy, and also a very funny film. The fact is, it was getting very little foot traffic because of how they had redirected traffic with Galaxy's Edge. So it was not getting the flow through that it used to. So if they're just looking at numbers of how do we reinvigorate a section, that's going to be on the chopping block. My preference for aging rides like that is to give them a little love, update them, some new effects, just a refresh to sort of the environment. There's stuff that could have been cleaned up and made a little spiffier in there, and still kept the film, still kept the nature of it. So I'm sad and disappointed that it's going in the way that it's going, but it's very typical of Disney to do a rip the Band-Aid off sort of, hey, we're closing it in 3 months. This isn't up for debate. Say goodbye to it. We've already made our plans.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Monsters Inc. thing came out and everyone noticed where the design artwork looked like it was being situated within Hollywood studios, the writing was on the wall. That had been on the chopping block for a while. So I'm very disappointed. I have a copy of the ride film, so I'm not so heartbroken that I'll never see it again. But it was a beautiful experience that you would have the animatronics of the penguins that were live and the Swedish Chef and Bean Bunny and Statler and Waldorf interacting with the film in real time. It was a nice magical experience, and I'm sorry for the people who don't get to experience it because it already left California a couple of years ago. So it's a shame that it could not have been, at the very least, moved to a different area of the park. But I don't think the Rock and Roller Coaster refresh is a good replacement for it, because I think they're going to cut a lot of corners on that, and it'll be a lot of projection and backlight. And also that means that you'll have all of the current Muppet performers and not Frank Oz and Jim Henson and Richard Hunt and all the ones that have passed. So
Have you been recently?
no, the last time I was there was March 5th, 2020.
It's not.
That was
too
my
long
last day
ago.
in the park. Well, it was,
I
considering
haven't
what,
been.
what was happening, that was sort of last ones
Yeah, that's
out
true.
kind of.
That is true. I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet, and I really want to go. It seems like every year we're like, all right, we'll try to go next year, and then like a bunch of things come up, like we go elsewhere for vacations, and
Right. And it is, the park is far different now, cost wise. It is a much more difficult proposition to go down there.
And I was actually looking at like staying at some of the resorts in Disney and like the cost of those, and it's pretty high.
I mean, frankly, honestly, if I decided to go now and it involved travel anyway, I would choose Disneyland 100% over Disney World.
Oh, really?
It's because, particularly if you haven't been, and because Galaxy's Edge is a focus and they are identical on both coasts. In fact, you get more experiences in Disneyland because the walk around characters are more often like Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and the animatronic Grogu are all on the Disneyland side, not the Disney World side.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it's just much more manageable, much less expensive. And there's a charm to Disneyland that Disney World doesn't have.
We got 280p mic now.
Oh, look, he's on Real Player. You're on Real Player right now.
Are you streaming from a PlayStation 2? Maybe your voice will be better if since your video
It says my
video is worse.
connection is unstable.
Did you reset the router when you restarted everything?
Like an either or kind of situation. Or
did you restart the router?
I did. I know I did.
So it might still be coming back online.
This is such a currently relevant comment. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This pod's never going to start. This reminds me whenever we had that Hasbro designer on. What's her name? Somebody in the chat can help me out. Mike, what's that lady's name that sculpted for Hasbro and that we had her on? Do you remember? Oh, Sarah Lynn Reynolds. We had her on, and like probably one of our biggest guests, and then my headset like just wouldn't work.
Reynolds?
Yeah, Sarah Lynn. Like my headset just wouldn't work.
Sarah Lynn Reynolds.
When she came on.
Yeah.
Too embarrassing. I blew my shot with her right out the bat.
That's what I was. I remember there was a time that you had an issue with this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I see the low signal on mine, and now it's.
We should have just stuck with the.
Well, I know how
with the original.
This. I can get into my router and prioritize myself.
And you're hardwired into your router? Or are you running off of Wi-Fi right now?
Well, Bond, this will be revealed during Fine Editions. So
this one is my favorite of all the lands.
Hang tight. He was telling me that Disneyland is better than Disney World.
No, I can't hardwire it on my router. I'm too far away.
Do you need to turn off your Wi-Fi and turn it back on? So now
Disney World is bigger, and it's a lot more like, I don't know if corporate's the right thing, but
the way I describe it is Disneyland feels crafted and Disney World feels manufactured.
Again,
there is a charm and a direct approach to an organic approach to how Disneyland was created, and obviously it being the original park.
Yes.
And an intimacy because it is a much, 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 much smaller park. Disney World was an attempt to recreate that on a larger scale. So you are starting with the idea of this being not a thing that came from a direct place in its creation. So, and also it was, Disneyland is a locals park and Disney World is a tourist park. Because Disneyland really depends on locals to sustain it. So it has that sort of charm and accessibility that you get for something that you want locals to feel like they could just pop down to Disneyland and have a day at Disneyland, as opposed to Disney World. We want to incentivize you to spend $5,000 for a week vacation. And I'm underestimating the cost of it now. To come down and plan your once in a lifetime vacation to Disney World. So also incorporating all the different things that you would need to have for a resort. So it is an emotionally draining commitment.
Yeah, it's more than that now.
Yeah. And financially, yes, draining commitment. So
For sure.
Disneyland, if that's what you're doing, and you also don't want to break the bank, but you want the experience of Galaxy's Edge, Disneyland all the way.
Interesting. I'll keep that in mind.
Also, the benefit of not being Florida.
She also wants to go to Universal, though, like make it a 2-for-1.
There's another Universal. There's a Universal just north of Disneyland as well. So,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
well, I mean, the original Universal Studios, which also has the Nintendo there as well.
Interesting.
So, if you're just wanting to do it, and so even just get a sample, I think it's a much more comfortable, less stressed, because you're also not, again, breaking the bank on it to go
Mike, your
Disneyland.
video quality is getting better,
I'm doing my best.
but your
I
audio
feel like
is still
I'm
delayed.
Scott
Now you're out of sync.
in.
I think
Are you
if you
serious?
leave and come back, it might work itself
Reset
out. Reset the timing, maybe. Because his video can be delayed as long as his
when
audio
he comes
is delayed
back.
like
Let's
he
tell him
is.
that it looked great the whole time.
This is a troubleshooting episode.
At least
Much
you're
better.
in sync. Yeah, you're in sync now.
Okay.
And you're
I'm in
HD.
sync. I'm
And
in
you're
sync.
HD.
Your
HD?
Yes.
Is it
You're
popping?
modern.
Oh my god!
We're good. I think we're good.
I restarted everything, Wilbon. I restarted my computer. I restarted my microphone. I restarted my internet. I restarted my house. I restarted the government. I wish.
I think we need to restore from backup.
Well, I think our government is getting set back a few years
Okay.
for sure.
Well,
But probably best that we're going to exist in a bubble for tonight.
yeah, this is just going to be a happy place where we can just talk about toys and whatnot.
And IT issues.
Yeah, and
I had to
And-
replace a power supply out of nowhere a couple of days ago on my main system. So I've had a lot of IT fun as well. Nothing like trying to find a really good power supply on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, even 10 years ago, that wasn't an issue. You go to Fry's, Best Buy, whatever. You can go, there's a local micro center down the road. We had like 8 different computer stores I could go to. Now, I don't know where I would go to get a power supply.
I found out, thankfully, Best Buy still has.
Still does?
And I don't know also if it's a store by store basis, because we have a military base in town. So you have a lot of people building computers in the area,
Right.
the gaming systems and that. So they're looking for components off the rack. So it makes sense for them to stock it. But yes, so that's fun. And then also teaching yourself how to do stuff like that again. Like, oh, how do I replace a power supply?
I mean, I used to build every computer I ever owned. That's all. I've never owned before owning a Mac. I've never owned a PC I didn't build myself.
But there's always a touchiness when you're just replacing a component as opposed to a fresh build. Because was everything plugged in the right? Am I getting it out safely?
Well, then you go like, okay, and can I get a faster processor for this socket, or do I have to get a whole new motherboard? And then does the new motherboard also need new RAM?
Then my cooling, my
like
heatsink
3D
doesn't fit on this,
Right.
because it's an AMD, not an Intel.
That sounds
Welcome
like
to
how
Tech
3D
Talk.
printing is whenever you first get into it.
Well, I mean, that was why I never got into it until the Elegoo that I got from
The Neptune or the. Did you get the Neptune?
Yes. Well, because a friend of mine, I got his. He had an extra, brand new
nice.
at point top of the line. He's like, "Do you want this just for shipping cost?" Like, yeah. So that was my introduction to it. But that one was not the Tinker Toy aspect, the sort of erector set, build your own hobby kit that 3D printers had been up to that point, where you had to put it together and any component could be a touchy thing that you had to sort through. So yeah. I got it at a less stressful time for 3D printing.
True.
But this should all
Mike,
be
you
on the
ready to-
podcast, right?
This is a great podcast. This is
All right.
relevant to everything I care about. So, yeah, I feel like we could get started.
And we're gonna kick you out, and then we'll bring you back in a couple
Lies.
minutes.
I gotta get
Leave you.
loosened up. I gotta get limber. I gotta get like energized. I need my cat to stop hitting me in the knee with her head.
Go take a shot of like a 5-hour energy or something.
I mean, I got my rock star here.
There you go. So we'll be good then. High
I just need
energy
it to kick in.
podcast.
I need it to kick in. Hi there. You're listening to Black Series Cantina. This is episode 88 miles per hour. Going back in
We're going
time.
that fast? Going that
back in
fast?
time. We don't need a. We got a DeLorean. Anyways, I don't know where I'm going with that. I just was like, is there anything funny with 88? And the answer is no. Even then, there's not. That wasn't funny. But as always, IG88. It was right there.
It was right there in front.
It was right there. Right there. I went to Back to the Future before Star Wars.
on a Star Wars
On a
figure
Star
themed
Wars
podcast.
What am I
How
even
could you?
What am I doing with my life?
How could you? I'm gonna steal the intro now that you fumbled it by not referencing IG88. So
Okay, intro. This is all making it in by the way. Intro. Part
Absolutely.
2. Go.
welcome to Black Series Cantina, episode IG88. See, Mike, that's how you do it right there.
Oh my God.
That's how
I
you
don't
do
know
it.
where I went wrong.
But we do have a great show for you planned. Even though there's bare bones Black Series news, there's absolutely nothing to talk about.
I feel like
almost.
there's negative news to talk about.
Quite literally negative Black Series news, but there is some sort of figure stuff out there we can chat about. And in a couple minutes, we're going to be bringing on a great guest who we've had on multiple times, and he's always a fun chat. But first, Mike, to kick off this episode, I need to get something off my chest. I have to rant. for
Ooh,
a second.
hit me with it. I like this. I like a good Zach rant. Hit me with it.
So you could not script this any worse. Like, you sent this to Hollywood. Like, this just does not happen. Me and Wilbon entered a figure raffle on Instagram, right? It was from I think it's called Good Brother Figs. Wilbon in the chat, let me know if that's wrong, but it's for like all these like WWE figures, like expensive ones, in a raffle. 25 spots, $3.50 per spot, right? Wilbon, I send it to Wilbon. He grabs 2 spots. I grab number 13, and there's 1 spot left. Wilbon messages me on Instagram and says, there's 1 spot left. You should grab it. And I go look at it, and number 2 is open. It's the last one out of 25 spots. And in my head at the time, I was like, you know what? Maybe I will grab it. But then I said, no, I'm going to make a bet that number 2 is not going to win. And you already know where I'm going with this. I'm making a bet in my head that number 2 isn't going to win, and I'm going to save my $3.50 and still have my shot at on number 13. Well, the live stream of the Wheel of Death starts, and literally like 3rd or 4th number, I'm gone out of there quick. I didn't last too long. So I'll leave for like a minute or two. I come back and I see both of Wilbon's submissions are still on there. So I'm rooting for him, watching it. It gets down to the final 2, and number 2 is still on there, and number 2 ends up winning. And that makes me so mad because you could not script it any worse, because Wilbon literally told me, grab number 2. And in my head, I said, I'm just going to bet that one's not going to win. And I could have gotten like a $90 figure for basically
to be fair,
$3.
there was a 1 in 25%. A 1 in 25 chance you would have won. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. And
that's how that works.
exactly. But if I would have bought number 2, there's no chance it wins. You know, so I feel like
you actively buying it would have cursed that. It's like a quantum theory where like matter changes when it's observed. kind of thing.
Yeah. We need to take Wilbon to the casino because he's calling out the good numbers.
only if no one actually bets on it. He only wins.
Yeah.
It's like the Invisible Boy from the Mystery Men movie, where like he's only invisible if nobody's looking at him.
And that sounds like everybody.
It's true.
Are we all invisible? It's like the tree makes sound in the woods. Where are you at on that argument, by the way? Does the tree make sound if it falls in the woods? No one's there.
I think it makes vibrations. It's only sound if someone's there to hear it, to pick it up in the ear.
That is true. Because the eardrum turns it into sound.
Correct.
For
Otherwise,
living
it's
creatures,
vibrations.
otherwise, it's just vibrations. I don't know. You tell us, chat. But anyways, we do have a guest on the show, so we're going to bring Ken Plume on to give us his answer. Where you stand on does a tree make sound if it falls in the woods? And no one's there to
We
hear
don't
it.
have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, what type of tree? How big is the tree?
Oh, good question.
What's on the bed of the forest at the time?
pine
It's
pine tree?
It's a
Pine
Black
needles and
Series HasLab-sized tree.
My answer would be that things happen even if you're not there to observe them.
I don't see that happening, so I don't think that's true.
I just said it. I
Hold
just said it to you.
You guys are gone, so I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. It's infant rules.
That's
with
right.
Mike.
I don't have object permanence. So as soon as I can't see something, it's not there.
I can tell. There's no hiss tank behind you.
Was it ever there in the first place? That's the question.
I know what wasn't there ever. Do I want to say it? I'm not allowed to say it anymore, actually. So
No.
Okay. Hold on. Mike, put your hands
Ken
over
can
your
say it.
eyes.
Like, it doesn't work. Hold on.
Okay, now Zach, you tell me what you were going to ask him. Was it what?
I'm programmed not to be able to say it either. You got to say it, or the chat has to say it.
Okay, what do I need to say? They're not.
You
Gonna
know what-
answer.
It's the thing we talk about every episode, except for this year. We're not talking about it. So we're not bringing it up. Anyways, what's going on?
I thought we were here to talk about things. We're not.
We're
Now,
not here to
suddenly
talk
they're.
about any, this is a podcast. We're a bunch of white guys on a podcast. We're not talking about anything.
Listen, I've never been
Nothing
on a
relevant.
podcast, and I will never be on a podcast.
Well, welcome, Ken. How are you? How have you been in the last year that you haven't been on? I guess you were on for our birthday, which is in September.
It hasn't been a year since my last full guest appearance. I thought it was in the summer sometime, wasn't it? And then I came back
close
on for the
enough.
birthday.
I don't have that good of a memory when it's stuff.
I was here.
like
You
that.
rejected my addition to the Hall of Fame, so it was
Oh, okay.
certainly within the last 6 months or so.
True.
Still
have to
smarting
check.
from that.
Which one did we reject? It might have gotten in after the
didn't.
fact.
No, it was Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
never gonna make it in.
Monster. Absolute
No,
monster.
Maybe we could put the whole set in, like the SDCC 2014 set one day. Maybe not just Jabba by himself. But I don't know. We should, or the re-release.
I guess that's a discussion for a few hours down the line. But for
That
right
is-
now, I'm doing
that is.
fine. How are you all doing?
We're good. I wish there was more Black Series specific news to go over. Like, I wish we got a reveal or two. I am glad, however, that the Anakin and Rex seem to be selling really well. They've sold out at a lot of places, so people are eating those up. Ken, did you grab those too? Or
I did pre-order them only because I think it's starting to fully sink in that the production numbers are way down on these,
Yeah.
and I think that's very well reflected in Ollie's. Like the days of just Ollie's drops are gone. I don't think there's the inventory for things to make its way to closeouts. So I think if you want a thing, you have to pre-order a thing. And if you determine you don't want it at that point, cancel the pre-order when it comes time. But if you even have a notion that you might want it at some point and you're not having to pay up front, my ethos is to lock it in and decide later if it's something you don't want to do.
Okay. Not to interrupt, but I got curious.
I had stopped talking. You weren't.
Well, I'm interrupting the conversation because I'm going to change it back to what we
This
were
is all
just at.
conversation.
You were on episode 67, which was March 22nd of 2024.
Yeah, less than a year.
It's like 11 months.
It doesn't matter. Less than a year.
It's close enough.
Facts matter still, Mike. Okay.
It's close enough.
No, close enough.
No, this is
not.
like horseshoes
We
rules. Okay.
we have to be accurate in all things. We should be striving not fudging the lines on,
Just
we're
throwing
close
a
enough.
number out there. I wasn't that far off, is what I'm saying. Like it was about a year.
Roughly, give or take a month
was
or two.
roughly a year.
Yeah, roughly.
Also, incredibly criminal that it has been almost a year.
I agree. That's another reason.
I
why,
feel
it's past
like
time to
I'm
end
the
back up.
Lindsey Buckingham in the What's Up With That sketch
What's up with
of Black
that?
Series Cantina.
We'll bring you on every January. How's that sound?
And by that, you mean March?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll bring you on in December, so it's not quite a year from now. We can make a deal.
According to real calendars or Mike's calendar?
I mean, I got a good calendar. It does whatever I want.
I will, as always, be available when you all need me to fill in for when there is absolutely nothing to talk about.
But hey, we can make stuff to talk about, and that's what we're gonna do today. So we got to fill.
So yes, I did pre-order those. I have pre-ordered everything that has, I think, been revealed in the last month. I'm just thankful for this lull because the end of last year was a nightmare.
It was.
When
Well,
it
that's
came
what it seems to be
product
what they
arrivals.
do, though. They because this is how it was last year too. Where there was like nothing for like the beginning of the year, and then it all comes out at the end of the year, and then there's nothing at the beginning of the next year, and then it all comes out at the end of that year. So it's like we have this lull, but then it backloads at the end of the year. So if they just spread it out, if they could just stretch it out evenly.
I mean, my understanding is it has to do with Hasbro no longer having the warehouse space to sit on product once it comes in. Like it has to move on to the retailers, and the retailers aren't going to sit on it at that point. So there is no holding an inventory to pace things out. And there's ships on the sea, so you can only be so accurate with that. There's customs to clear. You can only be so accurate with that. So I understand all of the variables. It's just
tariffs to get through.
Well, speaking of, I guess there is a little bit of news that we didn't talk about. But
yeah, lock in those pre-orders now and let's see if they still honor them when it comes time to collect.
Right. It looks like USPS and DHL are refusing packages from China.
No,
which,
my understanding was that has since been rescinded.
Has it? Okay, I didn't see that.
Okay, I haven't seen an
But
update or anything.
but
so-
ridiculous that it happened in the first place and incredibly disruptive and a violation of international agreements. But
Sure. I mean, it just, those minor things aside.
yes, but still,
Those minor things aside.
I don't think it bodes well for prices
Right.
on figures for the rest of the year.
Well, and from my understanding, most stuff, especially from like Hasbro, actually comes from like Taiwan and Vietnam, not China anymore. Most people don't
They were all
produce.
affected by the
Yeah. Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of worried that with all the stoppages, and maybe not even for like figures or collecting, just like packages in general, in traffic, if one person stops, it causes a big jam, and then like it takes so long for
It takes
the stream
forever
to get unwind.
Yeah. You're in
for traffic to
traffic
be
and you're
going
like, there's
again.
nothing. Like, why was there traffic?
I feel like
we
that's going to happen with
experienced this,
packages now.
We
Stopping
experienced
it,
this
like
with COVID. I mean,
hard.
when you have just that, a little bit of shutdown, or a lot of, it doesn't take long for an entire system to back up.
It's true. I've always wondered that, kind of in the same vein, like you have trash days. Like the trash people, everyone's got a different trash day, right? Like mine's on Monday,
Tuesday night.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Everyone's got a different trash day. But like if you have a holiday on a Wednesday, like those trash guys get that day off, sure. But it just means they have to do like the trash still has to get picked up. Like
Yeah,
they
you
just
have
to work
holiday
harder.
scheduling.
Yeah,
for
but
it.
they have to work
If you normally
harder.
have Monday pickup, it's now Tuesday pickup.
Right. But they
But the
still have to
Tuesday
pick it
pickup
up.
still has to have,
Exactly. So all they're doing is like,
Yeah, they got all the Christmas trash to pick up now.
oh, I feel so
All the
bad
gift
about
wrap and the
that.
boxes.
So bad. Every time I pull out the trash on that, but it's the same concept. I guess is what I'm saying. It's like those packages come in no matter what, and if you put that week break in there, they're just getting backed up, which just makes it all worse.
Yeah. I feel bad sometimes whenever my recycling is full And then my trash, I have room in the trash, and I have these cardboard boxes, and I'm like, I got to get rid of it. I'm sorry, my recycling.
You don't want those
is
cardboard
incredibly
boxes
full.
hanging out. You're just
Nope,
casually destroy the environment just because you're too lazy to let
Go
cardboard
ahead.
boxes.
They take up space in the kitchen, and I'm like, nope, too ugly. Plastic, McDonald's cup, you're in the trash. Sorry, see ya.
Well, at
You
least
gotta
that'll
do
be
what
the
you gotta
tale
do
you can
sometimes.
tell as it all burns. Like, well, I had to put it out. I mean, it was full. What was I going to do?
I recycled as much as I could.
It's an eyesore, big cardboard box sitting in the kitchen and dining room. Nobody wants that. Bringing people over.
Put it in
You just
your
gotta throw it in the
neighbor's
bin,
recycling.
We're not very neighborly with our neighbors. Well, one side, the other side is.
That's how we are. We have one side we're really good friends with, and the other side, like, I wish those people would die in a house fire. But the problem is, our houses are connected, so it would affect me.
But the thing is, the neighbors that we're kind of good with, they don't speak English. They just give us like tamales whenever they make them.
Oh, that's nice of them.
So like.
And you give them your recycling trash, but it doesn't fit.
Fair trade. But speaking of what's incoming, that's a good segue into fine additions.
Fine addition to my collection.
So guest goes first. We'll go Ken Plume. You have any recent pickups, fine additions?
Let's see. I got this finally.
Nice. How do you
Which
feel about that
was
robe?
Disappointing.
Perfect robe. Which that's something we'll definitely talk about now.
I mean, talking about
that's a big
the
thing.
sort of state of the figures right now, that compared to, come on, there we go. I mean, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, the robe hood.
I mean, even he looks sad about it. He knows he should feel bad about it. Yeah.
The worst part about that is they took new promo images with the old robe. They didn't reuse promo images. They took
And here's
new
the thing.
shots. And
There
it
are
had the old
thousands of these robes at
stitching.
Ollie's right now. They
Yep.
have so many of the archive series that they could have just taken the robes or taken the figures. Just crack open all the unsold archive series and stick these in the packs. But yeah, I mean, because you don't have the stitching around the edge of the robe either, regardless of the tack down. So basically any of the hem.
It's awful. It's just pure garbage.
I mean, it's the worst kind of, unless they're still at Ollie's. So I will probably go pick up a spare robe with a coupon. So a $5 Emperor figure.
So instead of a $50 set, it's a $55 set.
Yeah.
And you get an extra Palpatine body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
exactly.
fun times.
The Ollie's expansion pack. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been bad if they just took the promo images with the new shitty robe. Yes, it would have been bad, but it makes it even more scummy that they intentionally sort of mismarketed that. Just absolutely egregious. It's almost unforgivable. That might be the worst thing Hasbro's done in the Black Series.
The fact that I was going to go buy some fabric stiffener to see what could be done with it, just because you just really need to get it to lay down.
Sure.
So I think it would be, with a fair bit of effort, you could make it look better. But the fact that they did not hem the edges means that there's a chance of all that fraying.
Yeah, and it's a shame you even have to think about doing that, because the promo images literally showed the good robe.
Yeah. For a set that
Blatant
otherwise
false
is great to, in having missed it the first time, to have all those accessories, the extra hands and heads and so forth, is great. But yeah, it's sort of, it casts a pall over the whole thing to have to just have that out of the package. Is disappointing. So
I feel like I've dodged the biggest Black Series bullet by canceling that pre-order I had, and I didn't even need it in the first place. I have the original.
So why were
one
you
from
doing it?
2019?
Just for the slightly better painting on the.
Yes, 100%. That's why I put a pre-order down. And then just a couple weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I don't need it. Like the one I've got is fine. Even if the face is objectively better, I'm fine with what I've got. And I canceled it. And
Listen, I'm sure
so
it's-
happy.
I'm sure it is going to go on sale at some point.
Sure. This one doesn't seem to have sold out like the original one did.
Yeah, no, and now that the people are talking about it in the way that they are. Having the option just to pop over to Ollie's to get a better robe takes the sting off a bit, but it's still unfortunate to have to even deal with that. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to just get this out of the way as a thing. It's not a Black Series, but I'm going to show it anyway because I know we're going to see some Mythic Legions soon, so anything goes. It's a new jumbo figure from Gentle Giant. The start of
Oh,
Look at that.
the Max Rebo band coming out. So we
I
got
kissed
size
her
noodles. Of course you did. Oh, you want to do it? Do it again?
not a second time.
Oh, because you're not loose like that. So yeah, and it's and soon we'll have Droopy and Max. So I was looking forward to this quite a bit. Just because love the Max Rebo band, and we're never going to see it in the Black Series.
So are you going to
Or-
open it, or are you keeping it on that giant cover?
Oh no, I'm gonna open it. Yeah, it's gonna get opened. I need to film
you
a little
get-
piece with it first.
Are you going to do the little like razor thing, the classic? Make
Yes.
Oh
sure
no,
it's
the good thing about
perfect?
these are on
Does it just pop out?
clamshell.
Clam
Yeah.
shells. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So you
That's
have just the
perfect.
pieces of
Yeah.
tape that are easy just to pull up carefully, and yeah, it's just clamshell. You can get it out easily.
Gentle Giant's cool like that with collectors.
Nice. Yeah, they thought about Ken Plume having to do the little razor blade to
More
get perfect.
people
Like,
should.
you know what? We're gonna
Honestly, it's
not have
kind
to
of the
make 'em do
same
that.
with Four Horsemen and Mythic Legions. Like those cards aren't sealed; they just
Told ya.
flip up from the back, and everything's in little Ziploc baggies. So like you don't have to physically break anything if
Or,
you
or tear open a bag.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it does add extra cost onto it to be able to have things be
Sure.
modular like that. Let's see.
And ultimately,
What
I throw
else?
it away anyway. I don't care about any of that stuff, but it's nice.
Screw it. I'm just gonna show all the weird stuff. Here's a little Marvel animated thing that came from Gentle Giant.
Neat. Sad Spider-Man.
Why is he so sad?
He does look pretty sad.
Have you
Or
seen his
annoying.
life? Have you seen all the complications in his life?
It's true.
Rents do. Don't you understand? There are issues.
Rent.
Got a new Jabba.
I didn't know
Bottle
you quit your
cap
old
Jabba? No, he's a bottle cap, a Pepsi promotion in Japan.
That's so cool.
And there's
Okay,
a ton
who
of
else
different
do they have in there?
characters.
This is
But
the
look,
first. Yeah,
oh, these are great.
I
Look
had
at how
no
great
idea
the
this
sculpt
even
is on this
existed.
thing.
Yeah, that's
it's
really good.
great.
I think these were released in the mid 2000s as part of the promotion. Let me see. Jabba is number 22. Yeah, Revenge
me
of the
see if
Sith.
it's
They
in
were
my
tying in with
handy-
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, let me see if it's in my Revenge of the Sith product catalog that I have.
Oh, you mean Journey to the West or whatever? Was that the bad translation? The Star Wars Journey of the West or something?
Let's see. I got the Luke and Leia. I'm sure you've talked about it.
We have. What do you think of them, though?
I like the Leia, but I like the face on the TVC better. I think there's something about the head shape that's more accurate on the TVC version, and I don't know why there's an issue with that when it should have just been a scaling issue. Although it just looks like the Black Series is elongated a bit. The Luke is growing on me as far as the hair and the head sculpt.
The body's perfect. He's got
The body's really good.
Yeah,
Perfect
the body's
body.
great.
Yeah.
The head is growing. I wish there was a way to swap the hair on the original release onto the new release, because I think that would make it feel a little more like that early part of the film Luke. This feels like
Yeah.
he just took the stormtrooper helmet off and the hair dried.
Mm. Good
Friend of the
analogy.
show, Nate, was just showing off some head swaps on that, where he did the Yavin ceremony Luke, which you can buy very inexpensively right now for like $10 on Amazon.
Is that the same head sculpt that's on the comic version? The comic?
Yes, it is. And then there's also the Archive X-Wing Luke that you can pop on there as well.
Also looks good.
But the skin tone on that one is
The skin tone is a
pretty
little
noticeably
different.
different.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did a custom for a Marvel figure. So there's the great She-Hulk figure that they came out with last year. And I decided to put her in the Fantastic Four costume.
Oh, that looks good.
So I had to repaint out the skin color for top of the vest or the top of the suit. Yeah, found out there are these great acrylic paint markers that you can get that are really great for doing customs and for 3D prints and such. Because I am not good with paintbrush or fine details, but these have a really
Same.
fine point on them and really good coverage and are easy to use. Highly recommended. They were recommended by Kate Sabaker at Tested, who also works with Tippett Studios and has done a lot of the stop motion stuff with them, and was a guest on Force 5. But she had recommended them in a holiday roundup. So highly recommended on that. What else? Oh, got this from a friend as a gift. We haven't seen the Black Series yet, but hopefully we can get Shape of Water Kit Fisto.
We need
it.
Let's get Fisto.
We need it.
We really do need a shirt. I'm hoping, because there's a rumor that we're getting a new one. I hope it's going to be part of the Clones of the Republic 2 pack, and I hope it's going to be shirtless.
Yeah, I mean, you can repurpose it for a lot of other different shirtless characters that we've seen in recent media.
We need a shirtless Anakin from the Clone Wars. We need a shirtless Kid Fisto from the Clone Wars. We need a shirtless Kylo Ren, not from the Clone Wars, but you get the point.
Pick this up
Ooh, that's a good one. The dewback.
as well. Didn't have the Stormtrooper, but did need it with it, and it was significantly cheaper to not have it. So
You could put anyone on there. There's
Also,
be a Stormtrooper.
I think there's rumors that we're getting a new Black Series Sand Trooper, or there was like a leak that kind of looked like we might be getting a Sand Trooper, so you could probably get that and put it on it, assuming it's
Mike.
true.
how you doing?
I'm getting flashes of Jabba right now, and I can't.
Yeah, you are.
No, Jabba is speaking to me through a dewback, and I don't like this. I feel like I'm having a fever.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
Stop it, Jabba. Haunt me no longer.
So yes, I think this was $30.
It's pretty good.
Great price. I would pay
Oh, yeah.
$30 for a dewback by itself.
Easy.
So,
wouldn't even think
I mean, the
about it.
fact that it
Easy.
had, the saddle wasn't broken, nothing. I mean, all the actual bits of the dewback were with it, and just not having the Stormtrooper was fine with me, because I also have that Rogue One release that came out.
Oh yeah,
which is-
the
the
Jedi
recon-
Patrol.
yeah,
the Jedi Patrol Trooper, would
Which is
actually
close
look
enough.
Really good on that. Yeah.
yeah. So that worked out. Did I ever show you the custom I did for Krennic?
Or you put the head from
Marvel head on it.
Yeah.
Marvel head on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. And now you don't have to buy the new one that's going to be coming out.
But that Marvel head has been showing up at Ollie's. So if you're wanting to do it, that would be the time to do a swap. Although I'm presuming we'll get a new Krennic
We
for
are.
Andor season 2,
Yeah,
but
yeah, we
We
you can.
absolutely are.
Do you want to say absolutely? Do
I
you
do.
want to go that
I
far?
do.
Yes,
Okay.
we've seen it. We've seen it, Ken. We've seen it.
No,
You seen it.
you everything. What? Oh, like that tree falling in the woods. That you
His-
believe the Krennic, but you won't believe
shoulder
the tree
is on
making
one
a
of the
sound.
boxes. His shoulder is on one
His
of the
shoulders.
boxes.
Yeah, it's been confirmed.
Okay. I don't want to hear you two crying about it, but it doesn't happen.
Hey, listen.
There'll be a whole
Wi-
show.
If it doesn't happen, we'll get you back on just so we can cry
Yeah.
to you, and you can tell us
Hey, don't
that
lie
you
to
told
me.
us so.
Don't top a delusion with a lie.
Yeah, we'll
I don't
talk
need
about
that.
it next January.
I think last
We're only a
Last
couple.
thing.
We're only like what 70 something days away from
Ooh, Deadpool and Wolverine.
I like that hat.
Well, it's a use for the Indiana Jones hat that came with short round. Which is good on any of your figures. If you want to just Indiify any of your figures.
So, do you prefer that, or do you prefer the one from Last Crusade where his hat is articulated but on?
I mean, I thought you're a big fan of articulation, so
I forgot about that.
you complain.
Dan reminded me of that. Like, there's an articulated hat. It's just an articulation point you don't ever think about needing.
I mean, I love that they, at some point, the line went, listen, this is our last wave. What can we do to really plus? Well, we've worked out hat articulation technology. We've got a system.
Our articulation is advanced. We've really broken
you know
through
what?
all the glass ceiling.
We didn't have it ready for the early waves, but we've unlocked it. We got it. We know how to do it.
I imagine the toy scientists in their toy labs like, Eureka!
Hat articulation.
I have invented hat articulation. I don't know why they're German scientists.
Don't let anybody know. This secret gets out.
They only do it for that one hat, and then
Yes,
They
as
never
far
did
as
it
I
again.
know, that's it. I guess they kind of used it for Chopper. The TVC Chopper has the articulated head. That kind of goes back and forth. That the Black Series one doesn't.
So do you think the innovation of Indy's hat head led to
I do.
Choppers?
I do. I think Indy walked so Chopper could run.
Where else could we use this? I mean, there's not a lot of hats in Star Wars. How many characters
No,
have
that's a big problem.
outside of Imperials
Yeah.
hats, like actual just hats, not a
Who's
helmet?
got a hat? Yeah,
Got a
who's got
hat.
I mean, really,
I mean, Luke had his bucket hat, but that's only in deleted
other
scenes.
Yeah.
other than like, I mean, Hoth, like on Hoth, they had the warmer, like the head warmers.
But that's not like a
Oh, Cad Bane. That's a good one. Kirby Brock. Cad Bane.
Cad Bane, and/or people had hats, like people working
Yeah,
in
with-
the mines and
there-
stuff or whatever.
Yeah. Didn't that little guy with the with the manifesto have a hat, or am I just adding a hat onto him because I think he?
I don't know. Andor's buddy,
Yeah.
who threw the brick or had the brick,
Right.
had Marva's brick. He had a hat.
Yeah. That's
During that
right.
sequence.
What was his name? Like Boffo or something like that?
Yes.
Boffo?
So what about like the prequels? Is there any people that just wear hats in the prequel? Maybe like some of those Cantina scenes in episode 2.
Doesn't
Like a lot of Imperials wear hats. They have like the Imperial.
well, that's why I said Imperials wear
He,
hats.
he said, but nobody, like not counting Imperials because that's
Like a casual, like you just
Embo.
walk about like base. What is the equivalent of baseball caps in Star Wars? Just a
Right,
casual
they're-
cap.
Just a casual hat.
Yeah,
I think it's the Embo hat. Newt Gunn
I
ready.
don't think that's
does
Watto's
have that
hat.
little plate.
I think
Watto has
that's
that
where.
plate.
Yeah, but I think that's where he stores the plate he eats with at that
That's
point.
right.
I think that's because
He's
he's
like a
got
homeless
nowhere
person
else.
going to the soup
Yeah,
kitchen.
he's got. I mean, he lost a lot by that point.
He
I think
would
that
be
is-
the kind of person to go to a soup kitchen, even though he's got his own business and stuff. It's just how he continues to
Yeah,
go.
he got the PPP loans forgiven for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, not a lot of just cap work, which is great. So now you can add Indy's fedora to any character you want.
True. Yeah.
In fact, let's see
could.
how it looks. Let's see if this fixes him.
Nope. Don't like it. I don't like Indy's hat on Luke.
Any Jedi that wear hats?
This is great hat talk. I'm
Star
really
Wars, no
enjoying
cap.
Hat cast.
I think
Star Wars, no
I think Quinlan Voss would wear a hat.
Quinlan Voss would wear a hat. Absolutely.
Oh, you know what? Qui-Gon would wear a hat. He'd wear a fedora.
And
He'd wear like a
Qui-Gon would
sun-
wear a fedora
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, a fedora or a gardening.
I mean,
Not
Oh
hat.
yeah, like one of those like newsy hats.
did we talk about Luke in the deleted scene when he wears the
bucket hat, yes.
hat?
Yeah.
Oh, we brought that up already.
Kiadi wouldn't be able to wear a regular hat. Kiadi Mundi would have to wear like a Pope hat.
But he wouldn't wear it on his head.
I just feel like any hat on Kiadimundi would be like a Pope hat because it's just tall. He's got a tall head.
Yeah, that's what his nickname was around the temple. Yeah.
All right, back to fine editions. Back to fine editions. We gotta get back.
If I remember anything else, I'll bring it up in the conversation. But I'm throwing it back to you two.
All right, Mike.
I didn't buy any toys. I did get rid of a toy. I have I have this hole behind me.
Did we talk about you getting out of G.I. Joe?
We talked about it last time. I think we did. And I'm just
you're out completely. You got rid of everything.
I haven't gotten rid of everything, but I have gotten rid of my Serpentor. I sold that to a friend, and I got rid of my his tank. So I feel like those are two pretty big pieces. I've got a ton of figures. I put all of them in a tub in my garage, so I don't think I'm gonna get rid of them.
It's your bathtub. It's your play tub.
Yes, I'm just putting it in my bathtub, and then I'm just gonna have a picture taken of figures strategically covering places, and that's just gonna be my profile picture everywhere now. But no, I'm not. I'm out in the sense that I don't think I'm gonna be buying many. In fact, the day I sold my his tank, they revealed a bunch of new GI Joes, and I'm like, this is it. Like this is my test. Like, am I going to sell this or am I going to keep it and pre-order these figures? Because there's a lot of classic ones in there. There's like the Awe Striker, which is a vehicle I always liked as a kid. There's a couple of like retro figures that I really like, but the big one for me, there's this like snake armor, which is like a Cobra robot, which just looks like a big, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a big spacesuit, but it's like a robot, and it has like flamethrower stuff on it. I always wanted a toy of it as a kid. I didn't even know they made it, but apparently
is that the white one?
The white one, yes.
Yeah.
Because I had the.
It looks like an EV suit, but it's like a battle EV suit.
Exactly.
Right.
I had the Revenge of Cobra miniseries on VHS as a kid, and I watched it incessantly, and those were in there. And so like I always loved the look of them. But I never had the toy. I honestly might buy one of those just to fulfill that childhood itch. But other than that, I have canceled all my GI Joe stuff and I've sold my hiss. So I'm
so are you keeping the figures that you have now?
So far, right now, I'm keeping my figures in a tub, and then when I move, depending on like if I have a nice big basement situation where I can display some of them without worrying about, encroaching on other stuff I do want to display more, I could put them back up. So I don't want to get rid of them, but I don't necessarily want them on my shelves right now. And I'm not buying many, if any, new ones.
That makes sense.
So far. Yeah. I reserve the right to change that at any point. But the his tank was one of those things like, this thing is worth a chunk of change. It takes up a lot of room. I felt weird just putting it back in the box and putting that in my closet, like to have it and not display it, because it is such a display piece. I felt like I would rather have the money from it, because there is that Mythic Legions dragon coming out, and I do want that. Like, I want that more than I've ever wanted any toy ever. So I wanted to make
even more than Episode 3 Anakin that's modernized.
Yes, Zach, because you're the only person I know that wants that figure that much.
But it doesn't have the scar. But what about the Clone Wars one that doesn't have the scar? Oh wait, the Black Series has the scar, right?
The Blacks, yeah, I think so.
TVC doesn't have the scar.
Another reason that Black Series is just superior to.
Go quiet. When you get that ghost, you're gonna change your tune.
I'm not getting no ghost. I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Clearly, you are. You're definitely afraid.
I'm not afraid of it. I just don't want it.
You're afraid that you might love it.
What if I turn off my lights and it's just there?
You tell me.
Floating.
What would your reaction be?
Scary.
That would be scary.
Mike, it's me.
No, I don't want no ghost.
This is how a ship sounds.
No, But yeah, that's my pickups. I got nothing. In fact, I got negative figures from last time.
Do you have any soon to arrive pre-order notifications? Anything?
Well, kind of. So the next wave of Mythic Legions are hitting. Some people are getting them already. So by our next episode, I could have some from the Necronominus wave, which is a wave that went up for pre-order back in 2022. So I've had
Christ.
money tied up in these figures for 2 years at least, if not going on 3.
Boy, if only you had delivered a warning to your future self when you place those pre-orders.
It's nice because when I get them, like, it's just like free toys. At this point, that money's long gone. I do not care about that money I spent 2 years ago. But now,
the same thing about the
Future
Ghost when
Mike
it
is getting
arrives.
toys from it for free.
When that Ghost arrived, and seeing what that's going for in the aftermarket, I was so delighted and past me and being able to do that.
Yeah, like, thank you, past me, for making that financial decision. For
Current me would have thought that was bonkers.
Yeah. So Necronominus is kind of cool. It's a bunch of knights and skeletons in the wave because it's like a Necronominus is one of their 4 horsemen because they have a proverbial 4 horsemen in this line.
Is that their equivalent of death?
Yes, he's their equivalent of death. So he's got big bone wings. His horse is a big skeleton horse. So and then to fight him and his undead hordes are like kind of like paladins and knights. Like there's a big orc paladin, which I'm really excited. Like he's huge. There's like a really cool guy with like eagles all over him, and there's like a good guy horse with like a lance.
They should get you to do ads for this line.
Yeah, where I'm just vaguely talking about things, and I think
There's like a big orc, and he's old.
Listen, I ordered this
And a
stuff
horse, but it's a
2
skeleton
years
horse.
ago. I don't know how you expect me to remember all this stuff after 2 years. But I'm excited about getting it, and when I get it, I'll get more into it. And that's probably what I'm going to put here because I only have one of the other horsemen, and that's this guy. That's Arethyr. He's like a demon with like an on fire horse. He's basically war. The other 2 I don't have, Pestilence and is it like Famine? I guess I don't know. I don't have either
Bob.
of those.
Last
Bob. Yeah.
At what point do you stop putting things up on the shelves because you're moving?
Well, that's a good question. That's a great question, actually. I don't know. I don't like it. Like,
Because at what point do you stop? You're like, okay, why am I taking this stuff out and I'm going to have to put it back?
well, I don't want to not like. So my wife made this point to me because we found a bunch of pictures. We got rid of our bed in the process of moving. We're like, we don't need this bed wherever we're going. We bought it for our 3rd room. We've used it twice.
Oh, I thought you got rid of like the only bed you had. I was like, we don't need a bed right now.
No. We had a bed in our spare bedroom.
You sleep in
Sleeping
your
bags
office
only.
anyway
No, yeah, we just sleep on a blow-up
on a
mattress
bed of
on the ground.
lies.
Yeah. But no, we bought this bed for our spare bedroom, and we've had people sleep on it twice in like the 3-4 years we've lived here. So we got rid of it. Like in fact, I called 1-800-JUNK and paid them $500 to just get rid of a bunch of stuff.
So
from
what
our
I'm hearing
garage.
is you had a spare bedroom
Yeah.
that could have was the visit from Zach to go to
Yeah.
Disneyland in all
Sure.
this time, and you're complaining
still
about
do.
not
I do
having
have a
any
I
guests.
have a blow-up mattress. I've got a nice couch that's.
But you had a
that-
really nice bed he could use. Now he's
Honestly,
downgraded
people
to a
complain-
blow-up mattress.
People complained about the bed, first of all. Secondly, you're not going to come here to go to Disneyland because we're still an hour away. So if you want to get there in the morning, you have to leave super early. You're better off just getting a hotel next to
I think
there's
he's
a bunch of
also just going to
inexpensive
come
ones.
to visit you.
Yeah, Mike.
Visit, just to
still
come and hang
visit.
out with you.
How
He can still come and
inconsiderate.
visit. He can still come and visit. I slept on his
can't,
couch
there's no
when he was
bed.
there. I slept in his couch.
You
That's
took
what
the
he
bed
offered
away
me.
because he didn't have a
fact-
bed for you.
Tell me that's not a top 5 most comfortable couch you've ever slept
In
on.
fact, I slept on that couch with 2 other dudes, crammed on that couch.
That was your all's decision. There's a whole other couch upstairs that one of you all
No,
could
we
have
were
slept on.
we were fine. I didn't mind getting cuddled up.
Did you
with
all
me.
invite each other to the couch once you found out how incredibly comfortable it was? Like, you got to try this couch.
My
This is the
couch
best.
is just as comfortable. I have a Costco couch. It's a good couch.
Okay. Are you offering that to Zach?
Sure. In fact, it's in its bed configuration right now because
Listen, Zach, you got what, like 3 months, 4 months to make it out there?
you can make it out here.
Yeah, there's time.
Anyways, long story short, I got no toys. Zach's
All right,
turn.
I'll jump in here. I don't know what to start with. So there's been a dam built and it broke because I was firm on I'm only going to have this one Kane figure from
I knew
WWE
this would happen. I knew this would happen as soon as you bought it.
because I really do like the WWE Ultimate Editions line. Like I think the retail price point usually in between like $32 and $37, depending on like where it's exclusive to or what the retailer is or whatever.
Is this Mattel that's doing these?
Mattel, yeah, and they're really good. They come with like sometimes 2 alternate heads, championship belt, a bunch of alt hands.
Are they the ones I see in Target all the time?
Yeah, they're in Target and they're in any major retailer, Walmart, wherever. Like they're really good. So I was like, I'll get the Canes and I'll get the Undertakers in that line. But then the dam broke, so now I'm doing like 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, Wilbon knows that's got to be Kane. What broke the dam was and Kane's always been my favorite, Kane and Undertaker. But I've also been watching a lot of like the late 90s, early 2000s stuff that I watched when I was a kid. And I was like, I have space. I'm getting out of Marvel, similar to Mike with G.I. Joe. I sold a lot of my Marvel stuff that I don't want. I want to keep my Iron Man and some Spider-Man stuff, but make it very minimal. I got rid of a lot of like the extra. I freed up a lot of shelf space. And I'm finally proud of how my Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to show it. Look, I finally got the Dragon Ball Z in like a specific section, so I'm really proud of how that looks.
Yeah.
But so the dam broke, and I really wanted this inverted colors Kane, but it only came with the Ultimate Edition ring, which is a fully scaled ring for these 7-inch figures. So I bought the whole thing. Oh, it's upside down. But I bought the entire Raw is War Attitude Era.
Where are you going to put that ring?
I have no idea, if I'm being honest, but it's
Mike's got some space. There's a shelf right behind him.
Yeah, perfect.
Right
Like space isn't really an issue. It's more just like where to set it, because it's
big,
20,
right?
it's 21.5 inches by 21.5 inches. So
Square. So it's
square.
As opposed to the rectangular shelves that you have.
So it's massive, and I'm getting to the point where I don't think I'm going to keep the ring because just the ring can go for like I think Wilbon got his ring for like $163, and that didn't include the Kane figure. The Kane figure can go for like $90, but I found a really good deal, so I had to do it. I think I might get rid of the ring at this point.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
Go for it.
On one of your top shelves.
It's too small.
No. Hold on. Hear me out.
Okay.
So you get a base plate that is the size of the ring. Okay. And you mount it to the shelf at an angle. So you have a little spacer here. So you actually will be able to see the entirety of the ring on your display. And it is nice and mounted. It's up there and visible. So you're not like you're not seeing anything because it's on a level field. You're mounting it at an angle, and all you would need is a spacer in the back, and then you get to keep it and put figures in there.
Yeah, that is true.
How many other figures could you buy?
Exactly, that's the thing. But see, Wilbon's in the chat saying do not sell the ring. But the thing is, I was also looking at buying like a special side
toy
table that's like 24 by 24
capability you have with that.
Hang the ring upside down from the ceiling.
Yeah, put it in flight mode.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just make my wife really mad and put it right in the middle of the dining room.
I think it makes a great centerpiece.
Yeah.
Get one
that's
of those
kind of the idea. Like, put the Attitude Era figures
clear
on
top coffee tables. Nightstand.
Yeah.
You could also be a nightstand, and it's got a little it's got safety ropes on the edge for a drink.
That's perfect. I could put a nice coaster in it, the WWF logo coaster.
Perfect.
That's perfect. But this is probably my favorite figure that I own right now is the inverted colors Kane.
Wait, of all your figures?
Well, it's just because it's so new. I got it, this past week. So
Now, how does it scale? Is that 6-inch scale for those figures? Is like Marvel Legends scale, so it's like that slightly larger 6-inch.
I
Or is it
think
McFarlane
they're.
7-inch?
I think they're set. I think these are 7-inch. I think the
Okay, so they're
Mattel
close to
is-
the McFarlane size
I think
of their
so.
DC stuff.
Yeah. But to go with that Kane and that Undertaker of that era, I also had to grab Paul Bear, which I've been wanting this figure for a while, and I finally made my order on Ringside Collectibles. So Wilbon's saying they're 6.5 inches, but I definitely needed the Paul Bear, and he comes with 2 urns, which is pretty sick, and the big one opens up, which is pretty neat.
Is the other one his own?
Probably so. He is dead now. Rest in peace. And then, of
Do you
course,
think they put him in one of his own urns?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. And then I had to build the Kane army. 2 more Kanes came in the mail this week. So I got the 2001 look, and then the 2002 look, which this is like the Kane I remember from when I was a kid. So I'm very happy about this. And
How
a lot
can
of hard
you
work
not
went.
Do a Kane Royal Rumble of all Kanes in that ring.
See, I can. I just need a space for it. I need a space for the ring.
I'm telling you, that top shelf at an angle, you got more than enough space. What do you have up there right now? Just carded figures? So you could easily shift 3 of those to a different shelf?
Well, I was hoping to make that like a 3D print section area and then hang all the carded stuff on the wall here soon. Because I've been redoing
I mean, the ring height, though, is not as tall as one of those carded figures, right?
Correct.
I mean, you can even put it on that bottom shelf. What plans did you have for the bottom shelf? Put it at an angle down there.
Yeah, I just feel like it would stick out like off too much because it's still.
But if you're putting an angle, you're losing inches on that angle.
That is true. I'll have to test it out. It might still be too big to fit in that square with how big it is, but that's not all I got. I also got the DX97 Shawn Michaels with the belt, the black and green, and I got him doing the nice suck it pose with one hand, holding the belt, and the nice winged eagle shiny gold belt. Pretty excited about that. And then, so that's it for the WWE pickups. And then Star Wars, I do have a Black Series pickup. I got this Imperial Commando finally. I got it loose from Justin, so shout out for selling me this. Because I've been looking to pick that one up, but I just never really pulled the trigger on it. If I would have saw it in the wild or something, probably would have got it. But also, this isn't a figure pickup, but I got invited to Justin from Out of the Basement's wedding. Very, very small, private, close personnel only.
Oh, you can dox him right here on the podcast.
In Denver. Right? I got all the Airbnb info right here.
Right.
Pause it and you can come. So, very much looking forward to that. Plane, and hey, I think he's paying for the Airbnb for like the whole time we're there, which is pretty sick. So,
Are all the guests getting figures?
I'm really excited. I don't know. Maybe
At least the centerpiece, right? All the centerpieces should be.
Yeah, I want that Vader centerpiece as a thanks for coming to my wedding gift, actually. So I'm gonna bring. Well, he'll watch this, so he'll know. He'll know. But that's my other fine addition, is being invited to Justin's wedding out in Denver, which will be a great time. And then I think we're gonna split up on like Wednesday, and then me and my wife are gonna go an hour and a half north of Denver, I think, to the Rocky Mountain National Park, and then spend a couple of days in like a small cabin or something. And it's like almost a pitch black zone, and you're really high up. So assuming there's no clouds, hopefully it's not cloudy, you can see like the full Milky Way and stuff from there. So it'll be nice, a nice little trip.
You're only a day's drive from Mike.
Yeah, candy bars in the sky. But that's all. Those are all my fine additions. So
if you guys wanted to come, you're more than welcome. I'm never gonna say no. You guys can come. It's great. My house is fine.
It doesn't sound like you want anyone to come. Does
Come
it?
to the beaches. I'm like 20 minutes away from the beach. Come on.
Yeah. No. That you have to say this under duress after being called out.
Go to the world famous.
Speaks to the insincerity of this offer.
Animal Park.
there is probably no worse time to have somebody at your house, though, if you're preparing to move, like packing up stuff.
Unless you need someone to help pack.
All right, that's a fair point. I'm not going then.
I'm not gonna pack. Yeah, it's
You're
too
not
early
putting me to
pack.
work, Mike.
It's too early to pack.
How is it too early? You would think it'd be some things just like, oh, I could put all that in a box right now and just have that box done.
But like, I don't want to not have my stuff. Like, well, I don't know what I would pack up. I'm not gonna put my figures I want displayed. I'm not gonna have a bare room for 4 months, 6 months.
It's less than that now.
Yeah, I
isn't
mean,
it?
you could be proactive and just.
So that's the other thing is we don't know exactly when we're moving. It's got to be sometime in the summer.
Well, all
All
I'm
right, well,
saying
let's-
is that Zach could be there for you. That's all I'm saying.
I got to go to Denver first, so I'm sorry, Mike.
That's
The fun-
Find the last
I go
dinosaur.
to Denver too. Every time you said that in my head, I'm like, that guy's the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. And then I wonder, how much more? Is it an inappropriate amount of more? Like,
Guess you got to ask.
All right, let's jump into listener emails. The segment is alive. Let's just jump into listener emails now.
Listen, you broke this case. You did this. This didn't have to be this way. Could have just been the two of you staring blankly at each other for an hour.
and then ending it. It's true.
All right, first email is from Graydon Unfreed. Do you guys think that Grievous will ever get a remake so he isn't so fragile and can stand?
I remember.
I would love to see better articulation so he can get his scorpion pose. I've never really had issues with Grievous standing. Like mine right there. He stands perfectly fine for me.
I had issues until I kikied him. And once I did that, I don't have any more issues.
But knowing, I guess, a lot of what's coming, I wouldn't think. I feel like if he is ever going to get a new one anytime soon, like this year would be the year for the Return of the or Revenge of the Sith anniversary. But hopefully, one day in a couple of years.
I would give it another maybe like 10 years. I honestly
I don't think it's a
see it as-
priority.
Yeah,
Don't
I
think
it's
they'll
a
get to
priority
it?
either. Yeah.
It's not so bad that they can't look at it and go, it's fine enough.
Next
what it is.
email. This is from Grayson. He says, first time sending an email to help keep the segment alive. Hope you all are doing well. Been listening for a long time. A bit of a long one here, but I've thought about an idea for a long time regarding the Black Series multi-packs where they do a super deluxe final duel set for each film similar to the recent release Duel of the Fates 3-pack. Same idea, but a higher price point at what may be like vary per movie scene due to the diorama and number of figures included. A few of my ideas are Episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, Maul with Naboo reactor bridges and maybe that laser door. Episode 2, Anakin, Obi, Yoda, and Dooku with some of the Geonos and Hangar Bay and rubble for Dooku and Yoda to force throw. Episode 3, Battle Damaged Anakin, Obi, and Pregnant Padme with high ground and floating platforms above Lava River. Crispy Anakin would be great too. For Episode 5, which is his favorite, Vader, Battle Damage Luke on the catwalk in Bespin and a weather vane like the 3 3/4 inch one. Some lights and sounds on all these would make it even better, but I'm already asking for a lot. Of course, there are many more movies. I have ideas, but didn't want to make this a book-long email. So I think that's very ambitious, especially for this scale.
A little too ambitious for the scale.
We're lucky if we get 3
There's
packs.
a lot of huge chunks of plastic to ask for in that scale. I mean, a bridge section, that's just a huge chunk of plastic.
Yeah, and like the Geonos and Rubble, Hangar Bay, stuff like that. In Black Series, like unless you're downloading like a Lane Speed or Luke file, or a Charvies 3D or file, that's just not going to happen.
That seems the
Unfortunately,
cheaper way to achieve that dream is just get yourself a 3D printer and
Yes.
start printing them out
It's
yourself.
cheaper just to buy a 3D printer and print that stuff 100%. Like we just got the Jedi 3-pack from Phantom Menace, like the Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. Like print yourself out a Feed Hangar Bay or whatever, and you've got that already.
yeah. And next email we have from Edmund Lee. Hey guys, I love the conversation you guys had in episode 87 about scaling down your collections to what you love the most. I'm sorry to say I'm a Star Wars fan that's not 100% in love with the Disney era Star Wars, except Rogue One and Andor. I sold off most of my Black Series figures from Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, etc. I could not sell my original trilogy figures or Clone Wars prequel figures. For days I pondered selling them. I decided to keep them because I loved the movies and shows. and I have so many fond memories of the movies and shows. So I related to what Mike mentioned about quitting the G.I. Joe line. I think I'm in the same boat. I'm just buying figures from shows that truly bring out the kid in me. So love your show, guys. I always look forward to the podcast. Edmund Lee. P.S. Why is Mike moving to Illinois? I'm born and raised in Chicago. Mike can ask me for any advice about living in the Chicagoland area.
Oh, I thought it was like, why is he moving here?
Yeah, why
Can he
is
move anywhere else?
Can he move someplace else? Yeah.
Tone matters.
Yeah, he actually, I think he messaged me on Instagram or something. So we had a little chat.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm scaling back down too, you know, especially all like Marvel stuff, just trying to, I feel like I had too much from what I really want. I'm really just trying to focus in, and like, sort of like the sublines I collect, like the WWE, Dragon Ball Z, Marvel. Really just want to hone in on what I really enjoy and not get too outside the parameters that I create on those.
Collecting gets away from you so easily. Like, you buy one thing and then it's just so easy to talk yourself into buying more things just to try to chase that high of getting that one thing you liked.
It's also, especially like, you know, whenever you're getting into a new line, like for me with like diving in a little deeper to the WWE stuff, whenever you get one, it's like, oh, well, I need his tag team partner now. Mm-hmm. Well, now I need like his manager. Now I need this person he had a great match with. You know, so you keep building,
and that guy
building
went to high
it like
school
that
with.
for. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stuff like that. So it's just, it can compound really quickly. So set parameters, and that's probably the best way to go. Next email from Lane Hickerson. Hey y'all, I have a fun question for you this week. What does the Black Series Peg Warmer Hall of Fame look like? Thanks. Legends of Panel and Post. Black Series Peg Warmer. So is this like the best figures to peg warm, or figures that peg warmed the longest?
I mean, I feel like either way,
I don't blame
General
the
Lando fits both of that, because he's in our Hall of Fame, and then he'd also be in this.
I feel like
not that figure's fault.
No, absolutely not. That's why he's in our actual Hall of Fame, because he is a great figure.
I would even put the original Slave Leia in the Black Series Hall of Fame, or not Hall of Fame, but the Peg Warmer Hall of Fame, the Peg Warmer Hall of Fame, because just because of how like sought after this figure became after peg warming for so long. You could literally get this figure for $10, and then it just became such a desirable figure.
Now, I was not collecting at the time, but obviously was part of the hunt long afterwards. It was my understanding that figures like Dr. Aphra and Captain Rex made it to Ollie's and discount outlets like that.
Yes.
That figure was a lot of figures from the 2013 waves were massively discounted.
Yes, absolutely. I got most of the first couple waves of figures pretty cheap off Amazon back in the day. In fact, I thought the line was failing because they were going on sale so fast.
I mean, there are still Jyn Erso. There's still a Jyn Erso figure sitting in my Walgreens.
Well, didn't Mr. Stevie just get a figure from Walgreens? It was a Constable Zuvio, wasn't it?
It was a Zuvio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Walgreens is great for if you wanna travel back in time. Let's walk into a
what was on shelves 10 years ago?
Hey, they still got some Force Awakens fins, probably.
I know they had a Poe Dameron
for $19.99
for a while. And also the didn't they have the Winter Gear Cassian was one of the, was it that Walgreens exclusive?
No, that was
Kmart.
Wave. Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
No, not the.
Wait.
Well, then maybe
Andor.
Walgreens got that stock when it all went away. Because I know Walgreens for a while was getting stock for closeouts.
He was in a 3-pack. The Winter Gear. He was one of the
Winter
3-pack,
Gear was part of the regular figure. It was the regular. It was a regular Andor
that was in the 3-pack with the Death Trooper and Jyn. Yeah, I remember paying full price for that too.
Now that Winter Gear, is that a remove? I don't have it. Is that a removable hat on him?
It is not.
So it's sculpted.
I'm pretty.
So you can't do a head swap onto that and have your Winter Gear Cassian. He just would be without the hat. Without the hat, I guess.
Let's dive into the handy dandy chest of figures that don't get displayed.
Is that where yours is?
Yep. There's a lot of.
I'm pretty sure that
I like that it feels like lunchtime
What a
in elementary
gentleman.
school, and Zach brought out all his figures, but also did not bring a lunch because he filled
I
his
actually
lunchbox.
have one of those boxes too, but it's just a cardboard box over on the side over here.
The best figure in here is probably this Clone Wars Mace Windu. I don't display it.
My Clone Wars Mace Windu is also in my box. I shouldn't say that like that.
But you did, and it's going to be clipped out. Wilbon, add it to the soundboard.
Removable
Oh, it is
hat.
removable.
Okay, so
Removable
you
hat,
can't.
yeah.
So now, do you have your modern Cassian handy? The most recent release, is the head swappable? Is it the same
Should
peg?
be. It should be the same
It,
peg.
it should be swappable, but I don't have the most modern.
or a more recent one? Do you have like the?
I do have that exclusive one, the PulseCon exclusive or whatever it was.
Yeah,
with
what that
droid.
came with. Yeah, I'm curious if it would be. Is that be a good way to rescue that figure for display?
Yeah, it could be.
But
Because it's not
do
like you need
really
a super
to display
dynamic
it?
pose with him.
You need to display it though. Is it a version
Go-
of that character?
look at
that
your
you
shelf
need to
hole.
Display. I'm not just filling my shelf hole with
gaze
any old
into the
figure.
abyss. Gaze into the abyss of your shelf hole.
I cleared out those shelf spaces specifically so I
You're
have
moving.
room to put things. Yeah,
You
just 'cause
would
I-
have been clearing out those shelf spaces anyway.
So ideally, I'm putting things on there that I'll also display when I move to where I'm moving.
Now, what happens when you get to this big basement? You go, oh gosh, I have room in here for hundreds of his tanks.
Well, then I'll be a little sad I got rid of my his tank. But when the dragon comes out and it's the size of 2 his tanks, I'll be okay.
The dragon flies. You could hang that from the ceiling.
Not gonna hang it. I don't want to put it in a place that it's hard to get back down, so I can't play with it.
Climb up to it. You can go to
I'm
the
not
dragon
going to hang it.
emotionally.
No,
Why does the dragon have to always come to you?
because that's how my toys work.
All right, we got emails to get to.
More?
Next,
I love it that people are keeping this alive.
Now, that one email implied, was there a chance that the email thing was going to die?
Well, we keep saying that because like there was a time where no one was sending us emails.
yeah, whenever we first opened it, we gave our email out publicly. Like we got an email or two, and then it just kind of died off. So now it's like an actual. We've designated it to an actual spot on the podcast, and people have seemed to like that. And now we get like 6 or 7 an episode, so it's really awesome. It gives us something to talk about in episodes like this whenever there's just no news, and it keeps the conversation fresh because it's different people's questions and ideas and stuff. So next one is from Joe Bresh. He says, "Hey guys, I did my part to help and got both last year. So what percentage chance do you give Hasbro giving us another vehicle this year? Also, what is a vehicle that you want that nobody is asking for? My suggestion for an unexpected vehicle selection would be the Bespin Cloud Car. I think that has a realistic chance as far as size is concerned. Love to hear your thoughts."
They could do one cloud car, and then if you want a twin cloud car, you just buy it twice.
Yeah, the
could do
connector
that.
piece is an exclusive.
Right.
A percentage chance was the question asked. So I'll give it a 25% chance we get a small vehicle in Black Series this year. And then another part of the question was, what vehicle do you want that nobody's asking for? Oh gosh.
I feel like if you go, I don't know if there is a vehicle that nobody's asking for. I take it back. There's one. The Rise of Skywalker little speeders with the tank treads on them that shoot the rocket
Yeah,
trooper.
you're the first person
out.
ever to mention that for Black Series. So
I would actually buy one of those because I think
That
they
would be
generally
cool.
are cool looking vehicles.
You know what I'd
That
buy?
would be pretty
I'd
cool.
buy all the mod spikes. There, I
Oh,
said
you
it.
know what? 100%. I wouldn't even question it. If they made the mods bikes, the little Vespa
Done.
scooters.
Have
Well-
metallic paint on those things.
the cool thing is for those, if you move them on your shelf back and forth, they go faster than they did in the movie or the show. So
Yeah, I want whatever speeder the mayor's assistant was in too.
I don't know if nobody's asking for it. I'm sure people have asked for it, but like the speeder that Mandalorian rides in the show. I feel like the broken down, dusty ass looking speeder.
Yeah, they
on
Gentle Giant
Tatooine.
did a nice statue of that recently.
Yeah, I feel like one of those would be kind of cool.
It was like technically,
But-
is it a swoop bike?
Yes.
Probably. Yeah. Something
I
like
would
that.
want
I
a
think
swoop
would be
bike
neat.
like they did in Shadows of the Empire, the original Shadows
I
of
know
the Empire.
you still
toy
want
line.
your Dash Rendar. We get it.
Yeah, but the swoop bike was cool.
and you want
It had
the
landing
swoop
gear.
bike rider to go
And
with your
of
swoop
course
bike.
I want the swoop bike rider. He was such a generic looking soldier. Like he didn't look like he belonged in Star Wars, but he did not look like he belonged in Star Wars.
He
It was
looked
weird.
like he belonged in one of the last waves of GI Joe figures.
yes, 100%. That's where he looked like he belonged. Yeah.
All right, we have
Swoop Force.
we have one more email. We're gonna close it out on a really good email from Joby1 Kenobi. What's good, Black Series Cantina fam? I appreciate the way you all tackled my last question and appreciate Mike for the shout out last episode. It genuinely means a lot. Star Wars and collecting the line have been key elements in my personal journey of mental health recovery. I have survived some monumental Jedi trials thanks in large part to the collector community, your show, Out of the Basement, and a handful of others. So my question is this. Has it ever been that sort of thing for you guys? And in what way has Star Wars collecting the community made a positive difference in your life that will be with you forever? Asking for a friend who thinks he's a rapping Jedi. Much love and may the Force be with you. I would think a lot of Star Wars fans maybe have a similar or have something where it's been there like for them through. And I think like being with the community, that's why I started this podcast and reached out to Mike saying, or, when Mike, I let people know I wanted to do a podcast. When Mike reached out, I chose him. I wanted to do a podcast to connect with the community more because I literally didn't talk to anybody else, who also collected like in person, online. Like, I mean, I did get with people on Instagram when I had the big account, but it was never like consistent chat. It was usually just when people had a question or, blah, blah, blah. And there were a couple people that I would go back and forth with, but I wouldn't call them friends or anything. But now I genuinely have real life friends. I mean, hell, Justin invited me to his wedding and on the spot, I told him like, I don't know what we have planned, but I'll be there. Like I will cancel whatever it is. And we bought the plane tickets, right after. So, like I genuinely have real life friends now that I've gotten really close to. But also I think a time that Star Wars was there for me. My first year in college, I don't know if I was like depressed, but I was really lonely. I mean, I had friends in like band, of course, and friends to hang out with, but it was just such a big change because I moved out of the city. I went down to Bowling Green, so I was pretty much by myself. And my brother was there, but we hung out every now and then, like we played basketball. But that's kind of when I rediscovered my love for Star Wars. Like I watched the movies, I binge watched the Clone Wars in probably what was like 3.5 weeks or something. So that really helped me get through that time, which was awesome. And then my sophomore year was a lot better. So it was, and it's also just been with me ever since I can remember as a kid, playing with Star Wars toys. It's just always been there and always will be. And I guess that's just why I love it.
That's a good story.
Meanwhile, Mike wouldn't even invite you to stay over at his house.
And
That
Star
is
Wars
true.
was there for me during that, honestly. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, now that I don't have friends, I've actually got a lot of friends, but I didn't have a lot of friends that collect toys.
The way you sounded that makes it sound like you have no friends.
You also sound like Doc Hopper at the end of the Muppet movie. I got friends.
I got friends.
Max. Max is my friend. Getting that right, Max?
No, I made a lot of friends doing karaoke and stuff, but it's
Hell yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah. But it's interesting because you can only talk to toy people, like toys with other toy people, because like nobody gets it. Like my wife, I could see her eyes glaze over whenever like a toy comes out, and like she's always the person here, and I bring up, oh man, they just announced this. I could see the light leave her eyes whenever I start talking about toys because like she just doesn't care. Not like she has anything against it. She's not like mad at me for like collecting toys. It's not interesting to her. So it's nice having other people to talk about. Cause like, back when I was in high school in the 90s, Star Wars wasn't cool at all. Like if you liked Star Wars in the mid 90s, you were not a cool person. So it was kind of the reason I was an outcast, but it was also there for me while I was being an outcast for liking it. It was an interesting, like, self-sabotaging thing, but I didn't care because I like Star Wars enough to like still like it. And I liked it to a weird amount where I had like Taco Bell wrappers on my wall because they had Star Wars characters on them because the special editions were coming out. Like I was a weird kid. So I probably would have been an outcast whether I like Star Wars or not. So Star Wars was definitely there for me, and it was a good outlet for me to pour all that social awkwardness and weirdness into. And it's nice finding other people who like Star Wars about as much as I do now, where we collect plastic figures of them and then want to talk about them with each other on the internet. And
Respect.
Yeah, respect. What about you, Ken? What about you?
Well, I mean, the both beautiful statements. No, I think it's like anything that if you have a love of something, the deepest
doesn't have to be Star
connection
Wars.
that you can have is if you find someone else who also loves and appreciates in the same way that you do that thing that you love. And to have it be about, these toys that we grew up with or found later in life, anytime, just to, I think in finding a community that's, and it's sometimes hard to do, that's positive, that's encouraging, that's not toxic or awful to each other or about the thing that you're all supposed to love. I think you can be critical of something and not be an asshole about it.
Yes, that is
And that's
something that a lot of people struggle with.
the biggest journey that anyone could make in maturity in life, is realizing that you can not like a thing. You just don't have to be a jerk about it. And you can also just let things go. If it's something you don't like, you can move on from the thing and maybe come back to it when you rediscover that joy of the thing. Not take an approach of, I'm going to burn it all down before I go because it's ruined for me. I'm going to ruin it for everyone else. And so I think it's finding that community that is of a like mind in having a positivity about all these things that are ultimately not that serious.
Yeah.
They're not big in anybody's lives. They're not life or death matters. It's not the crux of our entire civilization of importance, these toys that we talk about. So if we can appreciate and properly contextualize that love and give it the weight and consideration that is appropriate for it, while supporting and having fun with this thing. Otherwise, if you're just gonna, sit there and stew and rant and you're only looking to share hate with somebody, that's probably a deeper issue that you need to dive into your life. So if you find those positive areas and those positive areas uplift you, hold them close and do what you can to emphasize and to further spread and bring that out in not just yourself but in others. Contribute to the thing that you love in a positive way, instead of detract in a negative way for yourself and others. And that's my statement.
Well said.
You can clip
Very
all
well
that
said.
out, right?
Very
It's
well
gonna-
Yeah, 100%. That's good. None of that's making it in. So good job.
I remember it in here.
It'll always be in the heart. Yeah.
And Wilbon took it to heart.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joby1, for sending that email.
Yeah, thank you everybody for shooting those emails to us. If you would like to get your email read on the podcast next episode, shoot us an email at blackseriescantina@gmail.com. We'll read every email we get, so don't let the email segment die. We haven't had an episode yet where we have 0 emails, so
Well, since we've started talking about this, anyway.
Since we started bringing it up more, so
Almost
and making
shaming.
an actual segment.
Almost,
yeah, kinda
you're
hard,
putting it. Yeah, you're putting it on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a real shame
mean-
if we didn't have any emails to read.
I mean, they do got it. So our listeners can't assume that we're going to have that somebody else is going to email, because then we're going to have zero one episode.
For every email that they don't get, Mike is going to sell another piece of his collection.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody, you guys are making me do this.
All right, no
My
emails.
collection.
No emails. We got to put it all into Mike's retirement fund. So get Mike's nice hefty retirement going.
There was a non-email question early, and I don't know if you were still going to address this. I was going to ask, and if not, if we're not going to talk about it, that's fine. But I wanted to see if it was still on the agenda.
Shoot.
Was the question earlier that someone had about how you feel about the current state of the Black Series?
Ooh, that's a great question. Let's jump into it right after this commercial break. We're just joking, but it's a Patreon ad break. If you really like this podcast and you want to support us, join us on Patreon. There's a tier for every budget, $2, $5, like $11.38 for the Star Wars reference. You can join us live at the $11.38 tier, and you can get access to the YouTube video at the $5 tier. That really goes a long way to help support the podcast, because there are costs. There's like an annual Apple fee that we have to pay. It's over $100. There's podcast hosting fees on Podbean and all this type of stuff. So if you want to help us out, we would really, really appreciate it. And that's patreon.com/Black Series Cantina. I think you can also access it through my Instagram. If you go through the link tree, there's Patreon there, probably in the description of this podcast. So help support us on Patreon. We really, really appreciate it. And I'm not sure if we have a VIP spot open or not, but we'll be doing another VIP hangout here soon. And this podcast, or this Patreon ad break, is brought to you by the cat that Mike is holding. And you can look at the cat if you join us on Patreon and watch this video. You can see the cute cat. So now back to the podcast.
She doesn't. She was just bugging the crap out of me because she wanted me to pay attention to her.
Well, listen, and I want to emphasize in this time of financial uncertainty that it is very important, if you have a creator that you like, to support them in the ways that are currently available to do so. And the best way is directly through Patreon. It's, YouTube is great. YouTube takes a massive cut out of things for their super chats and things like that. It certainly helps, but if you want to do it the best way possible for creators like Mike and Zach, do it through their Patreon. Anything that's as direct as possible with as little a cut as possible is the best way to support them.
Thanks,
Well
man.
said, Ken. We appreciate it. All right, what was your? Go ahead and repeat that question to reset the table for us. Jumping into this.
Well, do you remember who asked it about what the current state how you feel about the current state of the Black Series?
Yeah, let me jump through.
It was towards the beginning.
Was it this right here? Was it this one?
Probably.
Or
I don't like
Wilbon?
particularly the person who asked it, but that's fine. Can we assign it to a different person in the chat?
Sure, let's give it to Pletho. Good question,
All right,
Pletho.
yeah, good question, Pletho. We appreciate it.
So what do we think of the Black Series currently?
I think they are firing on most cylinders. I think 2024 was an excellent year. I think 2023 was an excellent year. I think we covered this on one of our last two podcasts. We were comparing like what were the best years of the Black Series, and we kind of agreed that it's 2024 and 2023 is a top two, and then you can start questioning, maybe like throw in some of the early years after that, or 2022, 2021, things like that.
But also, how are you defining best? Is it which characters are released?
I think
The quality of the characters? The amount of the characters released? Some people get angry if there was slightly less characters released in one year than the previous year, and that suddenly is a disaster year for people.
I think for me, we're at a great intersection of quality and character selection and quantity, because we've gotten less total figures the last couple of years. Like didn't we drop below 100 last year, Mike, according to your sheet?
We did. Yeah, last year we were at around 87, 86, depending
I
on
also think
what figures you put in there.
doing less of the gimmicky lines like the carbonized, the credit collection. Like we did get the holocom, which wasn't a hit at all, but at least we got a holocom Darth Vader out of it, and I'm perfectly satisfied with that. And they're not forcing like carbonized at us. They're not forcing credit collection at us. They're doing in-universe repaints.
Let's be fair. I do want to take one issue with the idea of anyone forcing figures and any company forcing figures on people. just as a way of phrasing it and how that contributes to the discourse around collecting.
I agree with that.
They take your credit card and they go, "You're buying this.
You're getting
right
this
now,
Mike."
Well, but I think the difference now is most of the figures they release, they're repaints that are in universe, and you can actually display them on your show. And like, there's a reason for them to be displayed. And if people like credit collection carbonized, like that's their thing. I enjoy having one of each one, but I think getting less of that type of thing and more of repaints that are actually in universe has really helped. And I think character selection with getting more prequel stuff, I think the new sculpting is incredible. Other than like taking away thigh swivel on the new stuff, on a lot of the really recent stuff, is kind of unfortunate, but I still think they're firing on. I think they're doing better than they ever have currently. And that's given all their flaws, like the whole Balin skull and Shin Hati thing is terrible, and the I almost said Jyn Erso, the Emperor coming with a robe that was totally different than what was advertised, and them photoshopping pins out of knees to make it to casuals to make it look like it's new, whenever it's really just a 2013 leg on there. Like that stuff aside, I still think the figures and like the figures we're getting and the quality of the figures is at an all-time high for Black Series. That said, there's a lot of things they can improve on going forward, but I think we're at a really good spot right now.
I'd like not to think that there is a intentionally malicious and deceitful attempt with a lot of those things. Like maybe at one point in the discussions, they were supposed to go pinless and it was just never communicated. So we have these photos, but with the pins, but we're going to adjust it to how it's supposed to be. But it wound out in the process that they didn't make that change, but it never got communicated. Because we're also, I like to give the benefit of the doubt based on the staffing reductions and how much may be slipping through the cracks of just people performing much more of a job than they should be to make it function in an efficient and non-error free manner in a lot of these things.
Yeah,
and I think,
understand that.
Like the robe, I think I understand the budget cut of that, particularly with
I don't really,
recently being
personally, because it's things that we've gotten. They've re-released that Emperor 3 or 4 times, and at the same time they've done the throne.
But
I feel like there's room to not take the stitching out.
But it doesn't mean that the manufacturing costs are the same when they go back to the line.
I mean,
I produced again. So
I understand that
robe costs 50 cents a unit when we did it originally, but now to do the same showing, it's at $1 a unit because the costs have changed so much in the couple of years since then. I can see them making that, but it shouldn't be advertised as being the same then.
Correct.
So that's that. Yes. So
and I understand that, but as a consumer, at the end of the day, I don't care how much it costs for them to make it. If they've released the Emperor 4 times with the correctly stitched robe, and then they advertise that this one's also going to include it, I just feel like there's no reason to
right.
But that's
the fall down was in the misrepresentation of the advertising for what the delivered product would.
If they would have advertised that it came with a unstitched robe, like we would have all acknowledged that, yes, that's terrible, and people who wanted it would have gotten it and people who didn't wouldn't have. But there's people literally getting it in the mail after they've paid their $45 or $50, however much it was, and they open it and it's the most ridiculous robe you've seen, and it's just such a letdown. So
what was the original SRP on it when it came out?
$40.
So went up by $5.
It went up by $10. It's $10. I'm pretty sure it's $49 now.
Was it $49?
Yeah, what was the re-release?
I'm pretty sure it's $49. Let's find out right now. $45. So it went up $5.
And it's been how many years since the original release?
2019. So
6 years.
6 years.
I mean, but also
$5 increase, and they kept that probably from being a $10 increase by taking away that stitching, thinking it wouldn't be as big of an issue as it turned out to be.
Would you have paid $50 for the correct stitching if that was the option?
If that was the only option, sure. If I didn't know any different, I mean, but this is all hindsight now. So we're going, I wish they would have just gone ahead and charged the $50 for the proper version of it.
Yeah.
But also the issue is that robe, it's the same robe they've used on the Emperor since 2014 when he initially released. They've released that. They've gotten their money on that robe 8 times over by now.
Right. But it doesn't change the actual physical production costs of the time they have to do that rerun.
Yes. But as a consumer, I can care less.
Right. As a consumer, you're confused as to, wait a second, this is no different than the Emperor that's sitting in Ollie's right now. Why is this robe so significantly different than that?
Well, here's the thing, and I guarantee if you ask this of Chris on the team, he was on vacation. The factory didn't get the note on the seam. They meant to have it the whole time. It's just one of those things.
We will never know until decades into retirement for these guys at a panel at a convention what all these stories were. No one who is currently has, the luck of still being employed at any of these corporate positions is going to tell you exactly what happened with any of these or the choices that were made. So at some point we're going to hear all the scuttlebutt. The deep dish will be served.
It's going to be a tell-all book.
But right now it's all just speculation and people yelling at a team that can't say anything.
They can't do anything. Yeah, they can't say anything.
And it's not their fault that they can't go, well, this is why they didn't get a robe. Or this is why, or the design originally had Balin and Shin in a single release and they came with the robes. But then they asked for exclusives. So we carved the robes out so they would be.
I mean, no one's blaming like the Star Wars team. I feel like there's a suit.
There are people.
There are a fair number of people who are screaming.
Well, nobody like with logic. I'm talking about like me, out of the basement boys, like people like with logic, Monday Night Figure Ball, people like that. But there is like a suit higher up that literally said like we have to make this cheaper somehow. Like we have to cut a corner. And they undid the stitching.
Or we have to keep
that's
the
what I'm
price
assuming
down to a manageable level.
Yeah.
Where are the things that we can make these cuts on? And we're seeing it come into, okay, now it's stitching on robes, and we're seeing it in washes. We're seeing it in paint apps.
And that deteriorates the product if they're taking stitching off a robe that they've done.
And that's what you see, all these things. I mean, that's the balance that any of these lines but ultimately the deciding factor is, do the sales drop off?
I think it.
So if the company is looking to cut corners, but if they're looking to cut corners, a company will. I'm not going to say cut the corners. If they're looking to make cost reductions in trying to find a sweet spot of what's the most economical way we can produce this for us that ensures a profit that doesn't turn enough people off from buying it, that we don't sell these things because they've walked away from the line or these products. But I think the key to that is then respectful pushback on it and request for it. Because you have seen changes in the line when things were called out, but yelling and screaming and belittling a team is not going to help things out. And sadly, there is a massive, massive amount of toxicity in toy collecting.
Especially on the YouTube comments, like on their live streams. Like, those are really bad.
I mean, why those are even on anyway.
Yeah.
I think they turned them off for a while, but they brought them back, and it's like, you all should just turn those off again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing productive by that rapid fire stream of effluent.
You know what no one talks about with this Emperor figure? This is essentially a figure from 2014. Well, the whole figure, even the base head is the same figure from 2014. It just has better painting on it. And then they have alternate heads. but like the hands, the arms, the body, it's the same physical
Right.
figure. The only difference between
Decade.
this and the original 2014 release is that one had the a molded rubber skirt and then gave it a fabric one so it could sit down. But that was the only change that they made to the figure, other than giving it the face a better paint job on the regular head. But like no one complains about that. Like this is probably the figure that's been actively reused the longest for like active figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone other that had been to that point had been retired, right?
Pretty much.
The clone
I think the
troopers
only
finally
one
got
is maybe-
retired.
Maybe X-Wing Luke, because it just got re-released as an archive release like a year or two ago. But I think this has seen more releases. We've seen more releases of this Palpatine body than
Yeah, by far.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Because I mean, Darth Vader has different. Like, he's using the same legs, but he's had newer,
Different
parts,
torsos
You know,
and-
yeah.
I think the nail in the coffin for that X-wing Luke versatility as a body was that Merrick release.
Well, and that
Like,
one,
you can't use it for every pilot. You can't. You got to stop. This is
No,
okay.
because the problem is they do, but Luke is short, so
Yeah.
all your pilots are short now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big one for me was I think Wedge. I'm like, I feel like Wedge is too small. I don't know. Maybe the actor, maybe Dennis Lawson is that short, but like I feel like it was noticeable.
Yeah, and also as so few pilots
Yeah,
that we've gotten, like
Although, like,
there
even my
wasn't a
dad-
Biggs at any
Yeah.
point.
yeah. We don't.
It's
have a
surprising,
big-
even as an exclusive like that. You would have
Yeah.
thought that would have been a retailer exclusive at some point.
Easy. There's no reason they need to do an all new X-wing pilot body.
100%.
Make it Biggs Darklighter. Easy,
But also, but make it modular enough to where you can do
Yes.
longer legs, so
Yeah.
you can get some height difference for different characters.
Yep. Maybe a torso piece they could expand.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
variants that you can allow for, because then, and also I want a Porkins body. I don't care. I
Oh,
want
100%.
there's got to be we absolutely need a Porkins and a Carson Teva.
Wilbon says that Dennis Lawson is a short king and we met him at ICC. I remember seeing him, but I don't think I ever saw him stand up. He was always sitting at his table. So his height never like,
He might just have a
Occurred to
short
me.
torso and like ridiculously
Right.
long. He could be a Conan O'Brien.
yeah.
Dennis Longlegs. That was his nickname.
How do you fit in that X-wing with those long legs?
They go all the way down into the nose.
So like all the way down. He has to push the seat in the X-wing all the way back.
He's got the deep pedals.
But
Yes.
but
So-
Ken, what I was going to say, I was going to bring
Yeah.
back into like, what are your thoughts on the state of the Black Series and where it's at right now?
I'm still interested by what they're releasing. I think they're trying to expand it. The fact that a Sebulba figure is coming out,
Oh yeah,
the fact that they're slowly
Yep.
but surely addressing the Jedi Council. You
We're
know,
getting there.
is it on any time scale that anyone is going to be happy with? No, because people are impatient and just want everything now because you're excited and you just want the thing. And you know, life is short, and who knows what's going to happen. You just want to have the thing, and and it seems like a glacial pace for these things. I think they're getting to it as best they can when you also figuring that we're seeing things that they were doing 2 years ago.
True.
Everything that we're getting right now, this is 2 years ago planning that we're getting it. Or 2 years ago as far as, pulling the trigger on doing it.
Yeah.
It could have been talks for far longer than that. So the response time on fans like really wanting a thing, I think people need to understand that pace is not going to be an instantaneous thing. And if it happens to line up to where it meets a desire at the same time, that's a miracle of the timing than anything. So I think we're getting a lot of interesting stuff right now. And a lot of the stuff that people have been noticing about washes or cloth and that. Again, we're talking about decisions that were made a year and a half, 2 years ago on production of these things. So maybe, and the hope is respectful pushback on it and discussion about it, and that's informing the decisions of things they're doing now. So I think it's just, yeah, if you don't like it and there's an issue with it, talk about it. Just don't be a jerk about it, and don't be angry, hateful, and you'll get a lot more chance that they'll be responsive to it, rather than, oh gosh, this community is just a toxic cesspool of people hating everything that we're doing. Because guaranteed that they were excited at one point about these things, and do you really want to push the love of any of this out of that team by making it turn into a stress nightmare for them every time they try and put something out or talk about something? So I think we just need, and for me, it's a journey for all of us, is finding that compromise point where you can be disappointed in the thing and go, okay, well, I hope the next thing is better. And if you didn't like it enough and you were angry enough about it, don't buy it. It's okay not to buy a thing.
You can't tell me not to buy something. I'll tell you I don't want
you not to buy that his tank.
Hey, I enjoyed that his tank when I got it, and I made a video on it, and it was great.
Now you need to take that video down because the his tank is gone. Yeah, that's how it works.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's not your collection anymore. You have to eliminate it from the archive. Yep.
Mike, you got any thoughts on the state of the line right now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not just the line, although obviously that's part of it. I find that it's because my love for the line stems from just my general love for Star Wars. I like to collect toys, and because I love Star Wars so much, I want to collect Star Wars toys. But there are people out there like it's a chore to be a Star Wars fan right now. Like it's so hard to find enjoyment out of it because it just feels like there's so many people out there that just want to shit on it because they don't like it. And while, I do my best to ignore it, to just focus on the positivity, like it drains on you knowing that, like, if it does come up, I have to worry about, okay, if I give my opinion on this, is it going to lead to a conversation I don't want to have? Like, I remember when I was working at my last job, we had a new hire, and he came and was like, oh, I heard you're the Star Wars guy. I was like, yeah, I'm a Star Wars guy. And he's like, what did you think of those stupid new movies? I'm like, well, actually, Last Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars movie. Oh, you like that crap? Oh my God. Just like that whole thing, like it becomes a chore. And it does feel a lot like when I was in the 90s, except for it wasn't just liking Star Wars that would make you get made fun of or whatever. It's liking the wrong Star Wars. And now I'm being told I'm not the right Star Wars fan because of the stuff I do like isn't the stuff I'm not supposed to like or whatever. So it's just that is hurting my enjoyment of Star Wars. And it's also hurting my enjoyment of owning Star Wars stuff. But I still do love it. Like, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I like this. This is a lot of fun. I like having physical representations of these toys. Like you said earlier, Zach, are they perfect? Absolutely not. But I do think objectively, Hasbro is making better Star Wars products now than they were back in 2013, 2014. Like, that's a fact. Are they coming with as much stuff? Does the pricing suck? Are they making weird choices? Yes, absolutely. But, like, I like this new Luke Skywalker way better than I like the old Luke Skywalker. I like this new Leia way better than I like the old Leia. I like the new Clone Troopers better than the old Clone Troopers.
If you look in their totality.
Yeah, exactly. In their totality. Exactly. So I think they're in a better spot, but I think they're in a worse spot when it comes to the fandom, which is making it harder to enjoy stuff. And then also, like we've been talking about, there's so many other factors that go into it. production costs, overhead, shipping, all of this stuff makes choices harder for them. Budgets get slashed. There's a lot of just negativity they have to overcome. So it feels a lot more complicated than it, like, knowing all that stuff. It's a lot more complicated than just, oh, I like Star Wars, I buy Star Wars. Which is one of the reasons why I'm enjoying other lines maybe a little bit more, because I don't have a lot of the inside knowledge, or that negativity just isn't there. So for instance, I don't turn off the chat when there is a reveal for Mythic Legions figures, because everyone in the fandom is just super pumped for more figures. Whatever it is, everyone's happy to get new stuff, even if it's a character they don't care about or a design they don't like. Like, no one's going like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that, this is terrible, blah. Yeah, like, they're just like, oh,
why that character?
Exactly.
When I expected this other one. If you don't know what the characters are, it could be anything.
They literally released the same thing in 4 different colors. Like, this is the same figure in 4 different colors. And
That's kind of like my
Wars
Kane
would
army.
never do that. That's like saying they would do that with a clone trooper.
but people eat it up because it's fun. It's just, and that's what toys are supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun. So in that sense, it's worse than it was back in 2013. And a lot of it just isn't Hasbro's fault. None of that is Hasbro's fault. There are some things that are, but a lot of it is out of their control. Especially not the team's fault. Maybe up in the higher corporate, CEOs and middle managers and stuff. But like, it's not Jing's fault. It's not Eric's fault. Maybe it's Chris's fault, but I don't know.
I'm not going to blame fandom either as a blanket term. I think people who rant and rail against toys have deeper issues in a lot of segments in their life, if that is the kind of anger that's being focused on toys and the kind of vitriol towards other people who may go, oh God, can we tire the word shill as well?
Yeah.
In the great speak of the internet? Can we get this? No. If someone says they like a thing, you can go, oh, well, that's a thing I didn't like, but I will move on in my life. And that's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't affect me at all. Exactly. And the same thing, like if someone's like, you know what, I didn't, but the thing is, it's never, oh, I didn't care for like The Last Jedi. And if you didn't care for it, we can have a discussion on it. But it's never that. It's always like, oh, that movie was garbage. They absolutely ruined this character. And, like I'm like, come on. Like, first of all.
And also,
like, calm down.
How could you like it?
Right. Exactly. Like, you must not be a real person.
That projection of the anger and hatred on it. It's like, listen, you shouldn't need me to justify your disappointment in it.
Exactly.
You don't need me on board with your disappointment to legitimize it. Right. And if you're seeking that, then there, again, are deeper issues that you're dealing with if you need that justification for your own dislike of a thing. It's fine if you don't like it. That's all I'm going to say. That's my message to everyone. It's fine if you don't like a thing. You can move on. Don't be a jerk to others. And for the sake of your own lives, chill out.
Just
relax.
Just chill out.
Relax about it. Well, it's not an anger. It's not a screaming. It's not a sad, angry face in a thumbnail on YouTube.
Sure.
With flames coming out of your ears.
I'm not blaming the fandom as a whole, because obviously I'm part of that fandom. You're part of that fandom. Like, it's not the whole fandom.
Speak for yourself.
But it is a chunk of the fandom that is hurting it. Like, I'm not going to not say that.
It is a loud, desirous of attention segment.
Yeah.
Who I hope reach a maturity level where they can understand that in the grand scheme of all of this, it's not that important.
Brian Dickey has a pretty spot on comment here. It's easier to say Mickey Mouse destroyed my childhood than to admit that our 70s and 80s childhood might have sucked or it just wasn't as good as you remember it is. And that's a lot of things is your opinion. A lot of it's based on when you were introduced and how old you were, because frankly, when you're a kid, you don't really know when stuff sucks. Like,
Oh yeah.
For the
Listen,
most part.
there's a lot of emotional attachment
Right.
that gets attached to something. Just
Right.
it's all circumstantial.
Yeah.
When you saw it, how old you were when you saw it, what were
Right.
the, who'd you see it with? Where were you when you saw it? What did what were the other things you were seeing at that time? What was the conversation on the playground the next day about it? What did your friends
Right.
think? Because there's peer pressure involved in it too, and wanting to
True.
belong to a group. But I think it's trying to find a way to normalize. You can move on from a thing if you're not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
That's
move
fine.
on.
Except for that hiss tank. You should have kept that.
No. I
it's-
didn't enjoy it anymore, so I sold it and I moved
It's-
on.
No, you're not allowed to.
I'm not.
I will die on that hill.
I'm not saying it's a bad toy. I'm not telling people if they still have their his tank, they're bad people.
You're an awful person.
How
You should
could
have
they
kept it.
possibly want it? In fact, the guy that bought
That's
it, from
why
me,
Zach is going to keep that ring, and he's going to find a way to display it.
I drove to Irvine, California, and met up with this guy at the mall to sell it to him. And I was talking about how great it was and how much I loved it.
Oh, I like
and I was
it.
a
Make it
little
sound like a
bummed I was
shady
getting rid
deal.
of it. It felt like a little bit of a
It was
shady
back
deal.
by the dumpsters. It was after midnight.
It was on the top floor.
I
of
rolled
parking
the
structure.
figures in the box.
They were. I made a little video for him.
You got the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. Is he in there? I want to make sure. So yeah, that's my. It's just it's so sad to dip into forums and comments and
Yeah.
feedback on these things when things get announced and just see. And again, maybe a function of just age and exhaustion and experience of saying it's like it's not worth the anger. It's really not.
Mhm.
Do you
So
remember-
specifically, oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, do you remember when we were kids and your mom would say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? Like that was like a thing. That was like a phrase that people used a lot
Right,
in like the 80s
right.
and 90s.
And do unto others.
Yeah. But mostly like, I don't know, like when did that stop being a thing?
The internet.
When did the internet?
No,
The internet
I listen.
noticed
I
that being
think
a
I
thing,
think
yeah.
there's honestly a function of the internet that connected the assholes of the world to form a support network for being assholes. That meant that they felt they did not in any way have to eventually come to a point where they go, oh, wait a second. People aren't talking to me and they don't want to talk to me because I guess I'm an asshole all the time. Maybe I shouldn't be an asshole. Maybe I should evolve and try and be a more mature person about this. I think it's allowed people to have an arrested development when it comes to emotional maturity in dealing with situations that, again, on the scale of importance, inconsequential. And so I
And that
think
show was only good for the first 3 seasons. So
yeah, well, we're not going to talk about streaming. So that really, I think, is what it comes down to. Is I think that people have found a place where they don't have to evolve. And in fact, in a lot of ways, when you're dealing with the algorithms of a lot of way these sites were developed, like YouTube and comments, are rewarded. The gamification of hate and anger that the internet represents, I think, goes a long way towards fostering, inflaming, cementing that sort of negative behavior that we've just seen as a society. And that's ultimately, I think, why we're in a lot of places that we're in right now.
So I'm gonna try to circle it back to like specifically about the figure line. What sort of things are you like
Hoping.
looking forward to that they're coming out with? And
Sebulba. It's the answer to Sebulba.
Sebulba.
So that was not mentioned as far as a hope for vehicles like pod racers, like get an Anakin and a Sebulba pod racer.
Well, that one everybody asked for it. We were trying to think. The question was that nobody. We were trying to think of like
we talk
vague
about pod
ones.
racers all the time. And
Every
so
episode, probably. Yeah.
I'm afraid,
But I just want Ben Quadraneris's. I don't want Sebulbas. I don't want Anakin's. I just want Ben's, and I want it to blow apart with a little action switch.
I'm
And I want
afraid
the
that getting
engines to go
Sebulba
flying.
means that we're not going to get a Sebulba's pod racer, or if they do, it's not going to have Sebulba with it, or I'm going to have 2 Sebulbas.
You'll have two Sebulbas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would love to get. I think a pod racer is like the perfect thing to have in the line because they're not too big. Like they're fun looking.
Well, I mean, it's what? It's the pod, 2 engines, and whatever connects. Well, it's quad. It's what he Sebulba had. What, 4 engines on his? Or he just has the X?
No, Sebulba had 2. He had
the large.
It was Ben
Right.
Quadraneros had 4.
Had the 4 engines.
And Brian makes a good point. The Acolyte ended up being the second most watched show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You know what? It wasn't viewing numbers.
2024.
It wasn't viewing numbers. Again, but speaking of,
It was hours watched. Yeah.
it was made an example of to the worst segment of the fandom. Again, you know what? Every single Star Wars thing, every single Marvel thing doesn't have to be for you. It's
I
okay.
agree. Yeah.
I don't, the generation now I don't fully appreciate a time when we had 3 Star Wars films, 2 Ewoks films that you couldn't easily watch
No.
unless you had recorded them off air.
That was
when they
the
aired.
only way I'd seen them was
Same
I had a
thing with the
friend that had
droids and
recorded,
Ewoks cartoons. Basically, you only had 3 films and then a bunch of books.
Bunch of books and
That was your story. The
Yep.
fact that there's a fire hose of content now,
Yep.
and you cannot, you don't have to like it all. It's fine. You can be the person that goes, I only really liked Andor, I only really liked Rogue One, or I only really liked Solo, whatever. But then you don't have to shit on the rest of it and be a dick to everyone else who likes the other things.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we had that one email earlier that basically said that exact thing where like he only likes certain things and he decided not to collect, for everything. And I think that's fine. Like,
That's fine. You curate your own collection.
exactly.
But as long as that person is, and I'm going to assume they're not because they are a listener of yours and your fans are good people who should be supporting on Patreon. I
agree with that.
I'm assuming that he's not on the internet going, oh, you're collecting stuff other than Rogue One? What an idiot.
Not a
As
real
long as you're
Star
not doing
Wars
that,
fan.
you can buy whatever the heck you want that makes you happy.
Or not buy what you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also go, hey, I'm a huge Andor fan. That's my favorite. I don't like much else. But you know what? I got that Donald Glover Lando figure because I'm a huge Community fan. You can make decisions like that too.
Yeah.
And fill out your collection. Or you can suddenly walk into a store and go, hey, I think I'm going to buy Canes from now on. Because I love Kane.
Hell yeah.
Raisin Canes.
Oops, all Canes. Can you get that Captain Crunch box?
Hell
Did you
yeah.
get some Raisin Canes while you bought all your canes?
You know I got that raisin cane right here.
Is there like
But,
a California raisin cane too? Is there a version of like a California raisin wearing the belt?
Oh man, wouldn't that be great?
Could be. I forgot to bring this up on Fine Editions, but I did finally complete a full Death Star hallway 3D print, which I'm very excited about. Look at the glossy finish on the acrylic.
I love that glossy finish.
I know,
It's such a good job on these floors.
Design. He designed those and didn't tell us we could buy acrylic floors on Amazon.
That's
yeah,
what I
this is-
use for my photography. I got acrylic black acrylic. on the
Why
ground.
have we not gotten a re-release of the standard Obi-Wan
Outside of that 3-pack, that was the last one.
that had the updated face print? Why has that not been an archive release?
Well,
Honestly,
rumors
I
say
would
it's
rather
on
have
the
a new
way.
one.
So
I would have a new one.
rumors say we're getting one.
I mean, we would all rather
So-
have new ones, but you know what? If it just means having them, just toss them on an archive.
No, don't bring up. Nope. You know I don't like the archive, Ken. You know I don't like the archive.
Well, should we not talk about that Anakin then?
No, the new Anakin's not gonna be archived. He wants
With its old legs.
with his
Should
old
we not
legs.
talk about his old
The
legs?
old
We talked
legs.
about that last episode. Yeah.
Are you, how do you feel about that? Because I didn't
We gotta-
obviously.
No, we got to talk about this amazing 3D print first before you make me mad. I got to talk about something.
Now are
happy
those
before I get mad.
you did the solid print on the light panels. You didn't do like the translucent or the ability to light those panels.
Correct. I just did the white filament to make it look like I feel it works good for what I need. I wish because I have it on the shelf, I kind of wish there was an option to just not have a ceiling and have it open-ended, kind of like my Tainted 4 is. But I still do really love like the setup. I think I might switch
can't you
the hallway
in
to be at
Slicer
top.
just slice off the top of the model before you print it?
Yeah, I probably could do that, but that sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, you mean the 5 seconds to slice off the top of the model before you export the... Okay, I get it.
Yes. But I probably could do that, but I mean, I did want to...
But he made it because they're supposed to be stackable, like the modular nature of it.
Yeah. But I do love how it looks like with the Tainted 4, like the New Hope, aesthetic I got going right here on these top 2 shelves.
No,
I'm pretty happy with
posing on it.
Out. Right, yeah. But I'm not going to have the Emperor on it full time. I really don't know what I'm going to put on the hallway. I think we're just going to have it be interchangeable, like whatever I'm feeling that week or month. I can put like Rebels characters in it running down the hallway.
Can you do me a favor for your Instagram?
Yes.
Can you recreate all of those exact scenes and poses, but with canes swapped in?
I can do something like that.
Hallway, I'm pretty sure.
His head will probably touch the ceiling, I would imagine.
Yeah, because he's K, of course. Yeah, go for it though.
Right? I might
also 3D printing. You could just scale it up to Kane size.
I could make it bigger. Yeah, I could make it bigger. I give Kane a lightsaber or something, so that'll work. But I did just want to say Lane Speeder Luke did an incredible job with this. There's also like other scenes you can print, and
you got the trash compactor, the interrogation droid room, the cell.
Yeah, with Leia. The cell. There's like a little just like working computer that the Death Star Trooper works on. It's like green, yellow, and white buttons.
Is when Hasbro, hopefully, because they're working through the council, when the Yarl Poof figure comes, I want the lunch line in the Death Star. So Yarl Poof with his ladle can work behind the scenes of the lunch line as the Emperor and Darth Vader move through getting their lunches. That's all I want. I want that scene. Luke, I'm putting out the request. I need that cafeteria for when we get a Yarl Poof.
We might get it. You never know. I know he said Luke will be adding more scenes as it keeps building.
Who am I?
Can we get just all robot chicken scenes? Can we get the escalator too? I want the escalator for that. That's for all your stormtroopers. I want the escalator. Stormtrooper.
Yeah, and then we can cut holes in the floors so like the escalator goes up multiple floors like that on the stack.
Done. Sold. That's all I want.
Are you gonna print any of that or are you holding off?
I don't have the filament right now because I would want to obviously get the filament colors. All I have is black and white filament right now. I don't really have the space to display them. So it would do more just the novelty to print one out. If the one I'm waiting to see if he does, the one I would be most interested in, just for funsies, because I think it'd be great for who you choose to put there, because we don't have the rest of the characters. I would love the conference room. And I'm surprised. I'm hoping that's in prog. Yeah. I'm hoping that's and a chair for Tarkin.
We need a Yularen then. We need a.
I'm saying Luke hasn't done Tarkin's chair yet, right?
I don't think so.
I know.
I want Tarkin's chair and I want Akbar's.
His little command chair.
Yeah.
I have somebody's file of a Tarkin chair. I'll share it with you. I can send it to you.
Please
keep it on the hush hush.
Listen, any chair that Tarkin is sitting in is Tarkin's chair. I'm just saying, he can sit wherever he wants.
Oh, do you have surely there's a 3D model of a toilet. Can we put a bathroom in the?
That is definitely something.
Oh wait, Luke, that's what I can do with this Emperor that just came.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Put him on the toilet.
Toilet
Luke,
Emperor. Yeah.
Give us a 3D printed toilet for the Death Star.
Hike up. That's why he has the claw, so you can hike it up. Well, speaking of Robot Chicken, we also need the bathroom stall that Vader goes into. When he accidentally activates his roller skates and his voice box difficulties, and when he can't find out how to use the restroom.
Oh, that's a good option right there. The Kaminoan soup ladle chairs. They look like the Japanese soup spoons.
So unannounced, my question for you two is, what is the one figure that you hope you get this year that has not been announced? That you just hope
Announced or
somehow
leaked?
that hasn't leaked, that you don't have any clue, but it's not in the line, but you want.
Without saying Anakin or Obi-Wan,
You could say a version of it,
obviously.
but it would have to be one that is not in the leaks at this point.
You know what? Actually, I've got a perfect answer for this because I was going to find a way to bring it up anyway. I just finished replaying through Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and I platinumed both games on my PlayStation. That was like my thing for the last 2 weeks of what I did. I decided I really, really want a Darth Vader from the fight that he has with Seer.
oh, where he's really battle damaged.
Yeah, where he's like all
With the
burnt
flames.
up in the flames and stuff. I really want a Vader like that.
So Pletho saying Satine, Wilbon saying 9 Numb. People are gonna call me a cloner for this, but I'm probably gonna go with the I can't even think of their names right on the tip of my tongue. I can't. The red ones. What are they called? They're on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of their.
the not the security, the shock troopers,
No, the clones. The on
the Coruscant Guard ones.
no, the ones with Kiadi Mundi on my Go. I always know what they're called, and right now, of course, on the podcast, I just can't.
Not the Galactic Marine.
The Marine, the Classic Marine, the Galactic Marine, yeah, the red one
they
that
red?
looks like a snow trooper. Well, they're maroon.
I thought we were
So
getting one of them.
do you
The maroon.
do you believe he'll be in a 2-pack with Kiadi Mundi? Do
Wouldn't
you
that be
think do you think they would push people to a Kiadi Mundi rebuy that quickly?
I wouldn't put it past them with what they've been doing lately.
If
on
they
some of
paint
these,
him
but-
with like blaster marks on him, I would.
oh yeah, like a shot, almost dead Kiadi Mundi.
you want
down for
you
that.
want a holy Jackie too?
I mean,
Yep.
why not? They're doing that with Transformers. they released like the ones from the movie that die, where they've got holes and like broken parts and stuff. Like,
Slightly different for the packaging.
is it? Is it?
I feel like Galactic
Colonel
Marine I
Angus
really
here.
want.
I think the Bespin Gown Leia would probably be my answer, as always.
I think
She's
I'm
been
done
my
on
wish
Leia.
list.
If I'm being, I have Leias that I'm not
She's the last
displaying
one I
anymore.
need. It's my favorite movie. She's the last one they haven't done. It would just complete the Leia set if they gave us a Bespin Gown Leia.
I actually took one of the Endor Leias off my display recently. The village one where she's just
The
wearing the
Ewok
dress.
Village one.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't really have space on the top shelf because that's where my episode 6 stuff is, on the top acrylic riser. And I was like, I don't need this specific Leia right now. So I pulled it off.
I wouldn't want a Bespin Leia unless they also announced, and it can come as a 2-pack. I'm fine. An Ugnaught. Because then you could do
Ugnaught?
the carbon freezing chamber display if you had your Bespin
That
Leia
would
and
be
an
cool.
Ugnaught.
Pletho, I think, wins. The Queen Amidala from Phantom Menace, I think I'm changing my answer, honestly. That's the one.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go new media and say, just because it's ridiculous, Carson Teva.
Carson Teva.
Okay. All right.
It's wild
Just-
that we don't have a Carson Teva.
There's gotta be some deeper reason we don't have a Carson Teva, because it is
Disney hates
ridiculous.
Paul.
The nicest, sweetest guy and biggest fan. It almost, I mean, if there's any spite move that you could ever point out, the fact that he has not gotten an action figure in either scale
I mean, he's got a helmet, I guess.
is ridiculous. I mean, you all have seen the custom that someone sent me of the classic Kenner figure, right? Version of him.
No.
A little dusty, but
Oh, that's cool.
and what's great is it's all magnetic on the connections, so they also Come on, pop off the head. And he's got.
Is it unhelmeted? Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really awesome.
Now you've got a Mr. Kim. He can run your convenience store. Okay,
No.
see you.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that is really cool.
shout out to 3D Panda for that.
I did also
Print and
want to
paint.
talk about this Marvel
Yeah, we gotta talk
Maximum
about
series.
Yep.
Do you all think Black
You mean-
Series
you
could
mean-
potentially do something like this? Or
I mean, Legends Mafex.
yes, Legends Mafex alternate. But price point on these, what was it? Was it 35?
They haven't said yet. They haven't said.
Oh, they haven't said yet.
I think everyone's waiting to hear.
Yeah. A lot of people are assuming it's going to be 50.
50.
I bet it's going to be 40. I think it's 39.99 is the sweet spot they wound on. Because the base figures, I think once they've got those bodies established, that puts it into the deluxe range of like a 35. And I think the accessories will bring it to the 40, but that's a sweet enough price point that people will choose that over the imports. I think that's what they were looking for, is how can we
Fight the imports. A
fight
little bit.
the versatility of how much comes in those imports. If you get into 50, then you're so close to like a 75 of an import that's
And you might
probably
as well get
also
the
going to
import,
have
yeah.
a couple more things in it beyond even that, and a stand and a display.
And higher quality paint, probably like some metallic.
Except for the face printing. The one thing that the imports still
Yeah.
don't have is that face printing quality.
Some
That's
of
the
them
one
are
thing
starting to
that
look
they called
okay,
out.
but for the most part,
They're just looking like
Yeah.
really good paint jobs as opposed to what a really
Yeah.
good face printing will deliver.
like they re-released their Ben Kenobi, and it still looks nothing like Alec Guinness, at least right now in the promo images. Hopefully, it looks better when people get it in person. But
I don't know. I think they learned a lesson with the I can't remember the name of those awful. What were the make a figure of yourself? What do they call them?
selfie
Oh, the
series,
Selfie series. I think they learned a big lesson with the selfie series pricing. And what, because no matter what, Hasbro is not seen as producing high-end collector lines. And they tried it with what was the larger scale Star Wars
Hyperreal?
ones? The Hyperreal series. They
Yeah.
tried it. They tried moving into it there. And again, it was
But
those
I feel
original
like
price
Hyperreal
points.
had other problems than that.
Well, Hyperreal was a scale you couldn't use with anything else. It was a unique scale. It was.
I feel like it's
material.
it's tough introducing another scale. If it were just like what this is, where it's the same scale, you just get more for more money. I feel like that makes more sense than asking people to start collecting a new scale. You know, which is why I kind of think like it's a really good idea what, you know, Mattel does with WWE figures. But, you know, wrestling figures have always been like 6-inch, 7-inch scale, but they have like different levels of figures, but they're all the same scale, so you can fill in your collection.
And
But I
also
feel like it's harder with
significantly
Star
cheaper
Wars
licensing
because,
fee.
and significantly cheaper license fee. But I
Which
feel like
again,
it's
you're
harder
getting with
Star
this,
Wars
because this is not MCU.
you have multiple
This is
scales.
Marvel Comics, so you're not dealing with all of the much higher licensing fee than you would be if they were doing these as like MCU figures either, with likeness
Yeah.
issues pulling into that as well.
Yeah. So do you all think we could potentially get something like this in the Black Series? And then what would you like to see if they did announce one of these or a couple of these for Black Series?
I mean, technically, if you took the throne away from him, isn't that what the Emperor figure was?
This has a lot more, I feel like.
I mean, not much more than you got. What you got? 3 heads total. You got the swap out hands. I think you're getting into the area of
Yeah, I
what
mean,
this
the
would be, the
throne.
lightning
Yeah.
effects.
I think you're discounting one other thing about this Spider-Man is it's all new. There's nothing reused here.
Yeah, it's
all
not from
new
2014 like the Emperor
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, this is all new
That's
articulation.
kind of the sell too.
All new
I'm not, no.
articulation.
I'm saying about this, if the Star Wars equivalent of what would be in a box for this thing.
Right.
Like, you know, you had like the original Han release having all the different hands, and then
Yeah.
there should be the Han release would also have a swappable head with his earpiece on, his headset.
So we
You know,
we
those
brought
kind of
this up
things.
before, where we had the idea of having like ultimate editions of figures, like a Han
Mhm.
Solo that that came with all that stuff, or like a Bespin Luke that came with, stuff that you could pop and swap and have multiple looks of that figure instead of having to buy 5 or 6 different versions of the figure. Just one thing to give you all the options.
The R2 is not that far off that we've got.
Well, R2 is just R2.
Yeah, R2.
Right. But again, if you're talking about comparing it to the SH Figure Arts or Mafex releases and what they got as far as accessory wise compared, the Hasbro isn't too far off. If you're looking for equivalents of what could be a deluxe, it'd be nice if R2 had like a flight stand and the jets and and flame
little
effects.
Buzzsaw, a little like all the different little accoutrements. Yeah.
That could be a deluxe R2 in a similar series.
I think if Black Series did this, I think they should stick with main characters, like the main characters. I think the Darth Vader, of course, right off the bat would make sense. Make it 100% brand
all new Darth Vader.
Because you can
basically make it the hyper real Vader, but like 6-inch scale.
Exactly, because that's a character you can give him 8 different hand expressions and they make sense. Fist, force choke, point.
But when you say all new figure, what do you need from the base body figure different from the most recent best version?
Legs.
So the arms and legs are from 2014. I would say if they're going to do a removable helmet feature, it needs to be better because every removable helmet Vader we've gotten has not worked at all. Especially on the 2014 one when it just looks like a sad dog. And then on the new Return of the Jedi one, which really makes me mad, it's almost impossible to clip it unless you really you have to manufacture it and get it to work.
Right, that's a clearances.
And then I feel like with Vader, you could get 6 different hands, similar to what this with Spider-Man. You could get an alt head with, the helmet broken or the helmet just off.
He would need to have a wired cape. He would need to
wired cape
made to be posable. So not just new sculpting, but like
butterfly joints
in a way to where you could put him in cool, crazy poses. Like this Spider-Man can do some crazy stuff. Again, it's not just that he's all new, but they engineered him to be able to pull off poses that most Spider-Mans can't really pull off.
Also, side note, when you said
Force
the butterfly
effects.
joint things, I just have Reading Rainbow and Butterfly Jointed Guy as a refrain in my head.
Jointed guy.
Yeah, I think with Vader, you could throw in like force effects too if you really wanted to.
Force effects, alternate hands, battle damage parts, like you said.
And also, like,
but I think for Hasbro, then you are pushing it into like the $50
and I'd
range.
If they could do something in the same quality as like SH Figure Arts, where it's like a definitive, after this, you don't need another Vader. Like this is the Vader that you want. I would pay that much for one figure because it's taking the place of so many other figures I wouldn't have to buy in its stead.
Yeah, and I also feel like with Darth Vader, there's the overall audience appeal, not just, I think casuals would be more likely to pick it up because it's Darth Vader. They have a wider range of people who would want to buy it.
So that would be your choice for first out of the gate.
I would stick with the main characters.
Wilbon says just get figure arts. I don't want figure arts. I want the Black Series. I collect the Black Series. And even there are other people, and I don't hate people that mix and match in their collections. I think it stands out like a sore thumb. I can tell when you have a Vader or a figure that's not Black Series in a Black Series collection.
I mean, it sounds like you're calling out Luke right now.
And I might be a little bit. Well, the thing is, like, if you want to do that, like, that's fine. You could do that. I don't. I want to have something that competes with SH Figure Arts. I miss the days when only one company could have a toy license at a time. Okay, I just miss those days. I
mean, to be fair, they are imports. They are having to be imported in, so technically they are licensed for a market outside of the market that Hasbro has the license in.
Yeah. Wilbon says it looks better, but you know what? If Hasbro made it at that same quality, then it would look just as good, but it would be in the same line. Like, why? It's not hard to understand. I don't want to have to buy a different line just to get
the first
a Vader.
Star Wars Max figure out of the gate is Constable Zuvio.
Constable Zuvio, let's do it.
Perfect.
I'm a big Constable
It'll be
Zuvio fan.
soon find it at Ollie's.
Yeah.
For $12.99. But yeah, I think main characters, like I think they could do a Mandalorian with it since he's, pretty big now and, do a lot of different, you could do like all of his blasters, jetpack, blast effects, different hands, like wrist rocket
all
effects.
Grogu bucks.
Oops.
Every different expression.
Oops,
Every
every
different
Grogu.
expression. Just all of them in there. Sitting down body.
Here's the Grogu accessory pack where it's an add-on to the Mando, and it comes with. He's not posable. There's just like 20 of them in different poses that you can do.
Yeah, they like Smurfs.
Yeah. Like here's the one where you can clip on to like his leg. Here's the one that you can have while he's holding him. Here's the one that's eating a spider. Like, yeah.
Eating the cookies. All of them. Yeah.
All of that. Yeah.
Here's his Pelimoto accessory. Probably the only way we'll get her at this point.
That's the figure. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the figure we need. We need a Pelimoto.
Mm-hmm. All right, so one last thing we have. I'm going to share my screen here. We have the Hall of Fame. We got to add a figure in. Let's just do a quick rundown of what we have so far. We have Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader, the Gamorrean Guard, the Scout Trooper, and Speeder Bike. We have the Greedo, Luke and Dagobah set, or Luke Yoda on Dagobah, Fennec Shand, the 2020 Stormtrooper Count Dooku, Figure and Dan and the Moto Nodes, the Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, the good version, not the terrible version, the Return of the Jedi Deluxe Boba Fett, the Hoth Rebel Trooper Asajj Ventress, Dak, and the speeder bike, or not speeder bike, the Snow Speeder. We have Cad Bane and Toto set, General Lando Calrissian, General Veers, Darth Malgus, and did we put one in? Was Malgus last episode, or have I missed one?
No, you haven't added the last one in.
Who did we do last time?
You're the one that's supposed to keep track of this.
Mike.
Did you say Veers? Was Veers your last one?
No, Malgus was the last one he put in there, but we had one.
We had one last episode, but I haven't added it on the socials yet.
I mean, I have a one that I would love to see in there at some point, but this is not the Jabba. This is not the Jabba.
Not Jabba.
It's not the
I'm already
Jabba.
shooting down Jabba.
And this is one that I absolutely. This is my most fun figure of a character I love. That does everything he needs to do. And the version I have here is one version of him, but the one I would suggest is the classic version of him. And it's just either now or for consideration in the future, because I just love the character so much, and I'm glad that he exists in the line and is so much fun.
Admiral Akbar. That
I think he's.
Or
I
the
think,
other.
but it's the classic version. But this is the one that's on my desk in front of me.
Gotcha.
So the Return of the Jedi version, but the fact that just the paint job was beautiful on this thing. He's got all the character of Akbar. He's got an open and closed mouth, so he can. It's a trap. It's a trap. He can do all the things you want him to do. He can look like he's having a great time on your desk. I just the fact that this thing exists and we got it. He's an alien character, which is underrepresented in the line in general. I think he does everything an Akbar needs to do, and it's just beautiful that he exists and an iconic character to boot. Like if we never get another Akbar, and again, I'm talking about the Return of the Jedi, but this one's great too. That for me represents the best of the line, where it's a one and done. Like you don't need it again. There's nothing he needs to do that you need a new figure for.
So you're saying that's the maximum version of Admiral Akbar?
Yeah, well, the deluxe is going to have the chair.
That's what we need. That's not a figure I had thought about, and it's a good suggestion, to be honest with you, because to me, it fits all the criteria that we look for a Hall of Famer figure, where it is like a definitive version of that figure, and it's good. Like you said, the paint, the sculpt, it has a moving mouth. Like
He's
I don't really-
got the spots on him. It doesn't look like, it's not a flat paint job to where it doesn't look like Akbar.
Yeah. But to answer our earlier question, Zach, it was the Royal Guard was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our last episodes. I think you've talked me into Admiral Akbar. We have a ton of figures on my list of possible Hall of Famers, but I think you make a really good case for Akbar, honestly.
What about IG-88 for episode 88?
No, you get out of here.
You
Get out of here with that. You get out of here. You get all the way out of here with that. That's
the
one of
figure
worst
you
figures.
hate the most.
I gotta be me.
So are we doing the episode 6 version or that version?
No, we're doing the episode 6. This is the only one that I have on my desk.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one I have easily accessible. The other one is riding a scooter back there, up on my shelf.
I've got the Kenner version right
Oh,
here.
so neither of us have the one that we're actually talking about?
I do have the other one. Oh no, he's actually easy to get. Hold on.
I was about to go grab mine, so we all three had an Akbar to talk about.
You should do it anyway. We all need Akbars.
You should. You should do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, I'll grab mine. I'll grab mine.
It's a travesty.
I just like that the Kenner one came with the baton.
I mean, he's just got so much character.
The paint apps are really good on this Akbar. No, we all three have an Akbar now.
We all have it, and they're all different Akbars. And you know what's interesting about that one, Ken, is that it's pre-digital face printing, but
it has all of the
it's still good.
It's cool that he has butterfly joints too, even though you don't really need them on Akbar.
Well, you need him if he's sitting in his chair.
Yeah, I did grab the real one too. I just
Oh, perfect. Okay, I think this solidifies it.
Was this Brian's favorite figure? Is that the conversation we had with Brian?
No, it was Jim Simonic.
It was Jim.
The carded Admiral Akbar.
But no, I agree. I think Return of the Jedi Admiral Akbar came out in 2020 in the first wave of the new Galaxy packaging. And he was somewhat of a reuse of the 2017 one, but only really the head and the hands and the forearms. Everything else was all brand new. He's got butterfly joints.
You don't see pins on him or anything.
Yeah, he's got the new legs. He's got butterfly joints in his arms. Like,
I mean, come on.
Thigh swivel.
And they used him to kick off the new packaging.
Yeah.
I think, you fully talked me into it. Admiral Akbar, the episode
Admiral
6
Akbar
one,
it is.
absolutely. That's
I
a
did
good
it.
one to add
I
in there.
won.
You
You won. You won this round.
Jabba next.
Jabba never. Not until we get the new one that's rumored or whatever. The
New one that's rumored. What is the tongue in a
twins
different position
the
on that
twins are
one?
rumored. The Jabba twins are rumored, and probably the what's his name?
Unless they bring
Ronto?
back the real feel skin, then I don't even want to hear about it.
They're doing the Jabba's kid, played by Jeremy Allen White, for the Mando movie.
Means Stinky.
Stinky, yeah.
All right, fellas. I think that's going to do it for episode 88 of the Black Series Cantina. I feel like we talked about a lot on an episode where we didn't have any news or reveals to go over, so that's pretty awesome. I'm glad we were able to fill so much airtime.
I knew he would spurn good conversations. He always does.
I do. I always do.
So, Ken, do you have any upcoming things or anything you want to plug yourself to our audience?
Should I have Jabba say it? Well, you could go to his Patreon at patreon.com/Ken Plume. That's probably
This
the
is
best.
like Zero the Hutt.
Yeah. The Patreon is probably the best place, and Blue Sky is really the best social media to find me on right now. Everything else is just sort of existing or abandoned So that's the best place to go for things like that. But yeah, the Patreon, there's a lot of interviews that are going up from my archives, with a lot of interesting folks and some new episodes of stuff coming up as well, with some great conversations with some folks that people know, and maybe a return of a podcast I used to do in the past with a person that people know. No, this is one of the first podcasts that ever existed.
Oh.
So
they got the podcast from the iPod part of pod.
back before there was no
where that name came
before there was no iTunes.
Yeah.
So who knows? Things are happening, but yes, speaking of supporting Patreon, I only have one real level that gets you access to everything, and that's the $1 level. Everything else is appreciated. Mike, you've seen all the exclusives that you get just for the $1. So there's hours and hours and hours of stuff with wonderful people, including Mike and Zach, who have both been on Force 5. Oh, the YouTube channel. Yeah, you could please subscribe to my YouTube channel.
No. I have a correction.
You can only plug one thing.
I have a correction. I've been on to have a chat, but I've never done Force 5. So.
Oh well, you're invited.
That's true. You were on the other one.
There was also a lot of scheduling conversations that you never replied to of wanting to bring you on.
Okay, no. Okay, nope. I'm throwing nope. You always ask the same day. I got plans. I'm a busy guy.
But when I was asked the same day to do something,
it's true.
It was important to me to make the time for you two.
Look,
that's right.
I can't. Whenever.
Oh, you picked the wrong time to clap back on me.
Ken's a real one.
I'm just gonna hit remove down here and remove Ken from the pod now.
You're the unbreakable glass in an emergency.
No matter how hard I hit it, it doesn't break.
Zach,
you have to shoot the glass.
Start picking out your top 5 and any honorable mentions, because you're formally invited.
All right, is that top 5 was just like favorite Star Wars items?
Have you never seen the show?
I've seen, yes. Yeah. I just want to make sure.
Star Wars items.
So basically,
Star Wars items, yeah.
It can be any Star Wars item in your collection. Your top 5.
He's got a Revenge of the Sith foosball table.
If he wants to start in front of the camera, that's fine. Is that what you're going to put the ring on?
No, I'll put... That'll work.
Actually,
I got a couple ideas for my favorite items. I can dwindle it down fairly... Yeah. At least I definitely have 3 off the top.
And then in the moment, you have to rank them. So you're building from 5 to 1. So you're going to ultimately have to determine what your number 1 item is amongst all your stuff. So you got to determine which Hayden autograph is going to be your number 1 choice.
I honestly don't think that'll be my number 1. Well, believe it or not, people might not believe it, but
well, there's a tease for the future, everybody. You're going to have to tune in.
That's true. So I know what my number 1 is. I won't say it. I won't spoil it. It's been on this podcast before. I've talked about it.
Is it Mike?
It makes me emotional. Yeah, it's Mike. It is Mike.
I'm a part of your Star Wars collection. All right.
Yeah. Kind of in a way.
Yeah.
So that's it. So yes, I would love if I could get over 2,500. Yeah, that'd be nice. Subscribers. I want to build it. I think there's great stuff on there, but no one can build YouTube channels anymore the way they could in the past. So please check it out and subscribe. That'd be swell.
It's 100% worth the $1, at the very least. I mean, obviously, if you can, you should give more. But there's so many good, really good interviews with very famous people on his Patreon. I think I had the one with Rene Auberjonois. Like, I think I had it playing in my room like 3 times, just because I like the sound of his voice.
It was a lovely guy too.
Yeah.
Go watch some Benson.
Yeah, watch Benson.
So, Mike, do you have any upcoming projects, and where can any new listeners that we have follow you on the internet?
I have a YouTube channel. I haven't posted anything since my Star Wars top 10 for the 2024, but I have
caught up
month. I know for the last month I have been working on a video that I've worked on for like 10 minutes a day. Just because, like, I don't know, it's a lot. But it's the figure wave for Street Fighter Wave 3. I'm just slowly but surely I've been working on it. I'll get it up. But I'm probably going to do some videos when, like, on Mythic Legions, when Necronominus drops, when I get those next couple weeks. So we'll see. And then obviously when Black Series decides to release more figures in the year, I'll do those.
Zach, have you been cross-posting your Instagram reels to Blue Sky?
No, I have not. I have not been. I've been posting TikToks to every now and then. I'll post them to Instagram, and then I'll post them also on our YouTube channel just to get, it helps get subscribers over there too, which is neat.
And they upped the YouTube shorts to like 3 minutes now, right?
Yeah, so I can actually post my longer ones without editing them.
Oh, so we can go
chopped up
1 minute and 1 second now and not have it kick it back?
Exactly. Yeah, because I would post them to YouTube and they would just cut off. So I'd have to really
turn it into a regular video.
Yeah, so now I can just post my 1 minute and 1 second video from TikTok, and it makes it a lot easier. So,
well, Wilbons says he's done packing, so he can come over and help you now, Mike.
Oh, great. I'm sure that's what he wants to do is more packing.
But you can follow me on Instagram. That's Black Series Cantina. Follow my TikTok. I'm over 23. I'm almost at 24,000 followers on there now. So that's got the classic name at the Star Wars Black Series. I think I might try to go live on there more. But we'll see how that works with scheduling and everything. But as far as the podcast goes, you can catch us every other week on any podcasting app, whether it's Apple, Podbean, Spotify, you name it. We are there broadcasting. Support us on Patreon if you really enjoy the podcast. And if you can't support us financially on Patreon, that's totally okay. If you can leave a review, comment on the Instagram, tell other collectors to listen to Black Series Cantina podcast. We really, really appreciate it. Any 5-star reviews really, really help get us in that algorithm and all that. If you want to support us by buying some merch, we have some really awesome merch that we saw at the top of the show. But if you're an audio listener, you can go to teespring.com/Black Series Cantina, I believe, and check out our mugs and our t-shirts and hoodies and all that. And then follow us, or not follow us, but join us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. It's Black Series Cantina. It's pretty small, tight-knit group. There's I think over 400 members in there now. So some cool conversations going on over there. And then be sure to keep the email segment alive. That's blackseriescantina@gmail.com. And we've never had an episode where we haven't read an email. We read every single email, no matter how long it takes. So be sure to send those in.
Can I leave a little message
on the show? And we'll have Ken Plume close it out.
To everyone watching this a year from now on YouTube, check in on us, please, and see how we're doing, and just say hello. And if we're doing okay, just sort of wave. And make sure you're following us then too, because that'd be swell. But either way, see how we're doing. Bye, everybody.
Bye.